kind of day for the overall market. We are basically flat right now for the S&P, the Dow, and the NASDAQ. You can see all three back in negative territory, but only just for the moment. 0.1 for the NASDAQ leading the way. The Dow 0.03, 0.07 there for the S&P 500. Still positive here in Toronto. Some strength in energy and gold helping. Brazil to the upside as well. Crude oil, there it is, 0.5%. This thing was down 2% in the pre-market this morning. We're now up 0.5% for crude oil. So all kinds of strength throughout the day. 3.95 there for Bitcoin. Yeah, another 7.6% downside for Ethereum after the merge, the software update last week. Yeah, it was a bit of a sell the news kind of event. There's a look at the S&P 500 as we head into the final two trading hours of your Monday. I point out material stocks because we were saying the TSX here in Toronto back to the upside, a lot of it coming from strength here. MOS 5%. It was a rough week last week for some of the fertilizer related stocks, back to the upside today. Everything else in this group as well in pretty good shape so far heading into the afternoon. Over on this side of the board, not so much. This is the healthcare group. There's Moderna down 9%. After Joe Biden went on 60 Minutes last night and said, COVID's over, if you didn't get that memo yet. Banking stocks still green on the day outside of MKTX. Industrials, all of them basically positive, including some of the travel names. There's strength in travel right across the board, hotels, cruise lines, and the airlines, all in positive territory. We'll talk about FedEx here coming up a little bit, but shipping-related names not necessarily in positive territory. Welcome in. Hope your afternoon is going well. Yeah, one of the cool things we can do now, that we have the desk and we have a proper two-shot, is we can have Neil and or Sean sit here at the desk and give you a look at some insights into what they were thinking this morning. We had a whole ton of things on watch this morning. If you joined us in the pre-market, we were discussing anything from Tesla right through to Apple and how it was going to affect the overall market today. And as we said, Neil, ends up being a bit of a choppy kind of day. So let's jump into a look at one of the trades we were looking at this morning.
Yeah, and thank you, Brennan. We're going to do our trade today. It's going to be Tesla. And look, Tesla is relatively strong, and we always get questions like, hey, why not show a couple of losing trades or things that didn't work out? And that's why I want to do this one for you guys. As always, it is still brought to you by Day Trade the World. That might not be in front of the screen, but yes, it is the same trade of the day brought to you by Day Trade the World. And I want to lay the groundwork here. Had a lot of ideas coming into Fed Week, thinking about short and resistance levels. And at least one thing that I was talking about in the pre-market was don't always diddle in the middle. When I threw up, I still have my 15-minute on this side here. I'll quickly just show you. You were sitting in the pre-market around 300. But I had this support drawn at the bottom, this high 95 area, and even down at 290 for another level to the downside, and then was looking at this top channel, 308 to 309, and sort of said, around that 300, I don't like the trade. Allow it to gravitate towards one of the key prices, and then work off those levels. So that did mean I didn't like the initial long at the open because it didn't quite test low enough to give me an entry price that made sense. So unfortunately, out the bat, the direction that Tesla is going, I wasn't really looking for longs that were structured that way. So it comes down to, well, at least try to show a little bit of patience. And I was very patient with it initially, but once we got to this 305, we triple topped. I was like, okay, well, I like a pullback, and Amazon was working, doing this. Let's just short it off of the current resistance level. And of course, when I get in, it's a really tight stop. So at least I didn't double down on this or try to average in. But it was more about waiting around until we actually got to those highs. And when we broke out at 307, it started to get into that range that we're looking for. You come back, there's our 308 to 309, right in that target entry area. It does this wick top to 308 half. That's right inside that target range I'm looking for the short, consolidates, gives me the short just about or above 308. There was one push to the downside. Was able to get some out at 07s, and then it took the high. Now here's where things get a little bit dicey. I was reloading on NVIDIA. I was reloading on Amazon. As a matter of fact, Amazon was able to hold on to that one as it does continue to work. But Tesla tested all the way up to 310. It then does this move where it fails that break of the top range and comes right back in. But it consolidates, say what you want, lunchtime, not being at your desk, that's going to be part of it. There's an opportunity cost to missing out on some of these trades. It comes right back in, fails a break, consolidates at the same level, and then gives the actual continuation short. So the only way, a lot of times you can come in, your thesis, your bias, your idea for stock is going to end up being correct. Like if you liked shorts this morning, you had to have it at good levels, or you had to not average in, or you had to make sure you adhered to your stop, so you were just going to get run over. Or you could time it right. Like lots of things had to go right for you. But what you can at least do is not hang on to it past the stop level. If you're out, hits, you've just got to be able to take it. Sometimes there's that opportunity to get back in, which does set up, and you want to make sure you can grab those to the best of your ability. But the key here for me wasn't stubborn about Tesla, allowed it to be a small hit, relatively speaking. It should have been green because I should have got back into this bad boy. But sometimes you are just not going to be looking the initial direction of a move. And when that's the case, mitigating the loss and adhering to your principles or adhering to your stop levels is going to end up being key. That's why Tesla here is the trade of the day. Not a positive one, but certainly one that we could have gotten run over because we were looking short.
It was an interesting move overall when you consider how strong these things were last week. Tesla obviously led the way, but you know, some of the other EV stocks specifically did give similar moves when all was said and done this morning.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about it is I did actually end up having a Lucid, which ended up working out a little bit better. And I think sometimes when you look at these names, like the one that you want to be the one, for lack of a better term, doesn't set up as well. And then it ends up being something else. Like Lucid, I was initially at a price level I liked in Lucid at about 16. I was long in front of it. When it broke that floor, the floodgates opened up and Lucid's at the low of the day now. And that's just the way the market goes. Like you don't know what the market's going to give you. You prepare for it, do the best that you can, and just make sure you try to follow your rules, right?
End of the day, got to go where the action is this morning. One of those places was Tesla and the EV group specifically. We'll talk more about Tesla coming up here, but let's jump into a bit of a review and talk a little bit more about what was on tap for this morning, what was on tap for the open. We talked about, as I said, Tesla, Apple, whole bunch of different ideas, all on that. Make sure you're a part of that. Click the link, or you can use a QR code. All you have to do is enter your email address. We'll send it right to you into your inbox for free every single day. Be a part of the more than 30,000 that are getting that every single day now. I want to kick things off. As I said, we'll touch on some of the EV trades that were available this morning. I want to kick things off with this, though, because, yeah, wow, Rumble in its debut. We were wondering back on Friday when this news came out what was going to happen when we switch over to RUM as the ticker, and what a move this thing's had today, up big time.
Yo, what's up? Yeah, you know, I haven't even looked at Rumble, so that's going to be a little bit of a disappointing thing there. Yeah, red rum, as they say. But yeah, there goes Rumble again, up to the upside here one more time. Try to break out through 1550. We talked about that. Here's CFVI. So again, on our chart, it's not going to show it, but CFVI, it's past high there. 1650 is sort of a key area where CFVI got. So pre-SPAC there on Rumble got up to that 1650. It did hit as high as 1850, but that's a wick top. So its best closing or opening day here, 1650. Its best closing day, 1635. So you touched 1635 today, which is the high of the day. So that coincides with this print back here in, looks like February, I guess. So long time for this name to turn into a SPAC, or turn into a stock, but today you get that with Rumble. So I don't know, remember what I was talking about, that you have that $10 bottom that was respected down here on CFVI? Well, I mean, now you don't have that base for a bottom. So if you want to go long on Rumble, obviously I think it's up to you, do it. You know, maybe it is that next YouTube there, as they were talking about. So I like the stock. I like what it's trying to do here. It's trying to break out, you know, a break above 1650. I think you can punch that long, but you just got to be careful if you are investing long term, because the minute you break that 10, we've seen a lot of these names do that. You know, PaySafe, Clover. I mean, it just goes on and on. Open Door, well, not Open Door, I think that's still above 10, but there are names, Nikola, so on and so forth, that all of a sudden they have that base of 10, and then when it's not there anymore, it can trade a lot lower. So I like to trade for a day trade. I'll just be very, very careful if it gets down to this $11, $12 spot, because you really shouldn't want it. Well, obviously we don't want it to break 10, but that's really where the danger is, in breaking that $10 level. But yeah, CFVI and Rumble today, a good name, and starting to move around.
Yeah, like that 14 break, man. I mean, we had a meeting this afternoon, sat back down from it pretty much as it was going, but sometimes you do get these clean double, triple. This is actually, if you include the pre-market, it tested it like 5 times before it eventually broke. And I do think that's why I'd look at that 15, 1475, 15 area if it does want to make a little bit of a dip. I think where it turned around, as Sean already showed there in the higher time, on the other charts there, on the daily chart, where it turned around makes some sense, but it is not exactly capitulating from here. Like, it's still showing some decent volume around the highs. The bid is actually holding up pretty nicely. So above 15, it does set up that it can still make another run at that high. If it gets there, you sort of saw that. I mean, the wick top at that 18 makes some sense to me. It's about 10% from the current high break, but that 14 is about as gold as it gets. And it didn't seem like it was going to do that this morning. Like when the market opened up, I was not really thinking it was testing 14. Kind of felt like it was going to try and test that 10 even. Now I have to start thinking about 15 as support for Rumble. That's the only level really at this point I'm looking at. I don't really like breakouts at the highs of the day. If I'm looking for a long, I'd rather be getting it at a level where I can make the risk to reward work, or maybe look for those shorts. And shorts are very cheap. I think we paid like 1 cent a share on this for locates on Rum.
All right, just having a look at Amazon. Speaking of going long, that's Rumble. There's Amazon. The brand new desk, if you weren't with us on Friday, in full effect here. Amazon, downside, only just though. I mean, speaking of going long in the sense of what a long this was out of the gate this morning, back to green and then some over where it closed on Friday. Not a huge note, but this was out in the pre-market this morning. They announced back in June they were going to create and hire 2,000 people to operate a new distribution center in Spain. They've put that on hold until 2024.
All right. It sucks because I'm going to be red on Amazon today. I mean, maybe not, but I am right now. And it sucks because, we had this dead at 124, and we said, watch out for that gap to 125, and that's exactly what happened there. So unfortunately, we just got too short too early. It looked like it was going to be stronger. There was talks there about we had Kramer apparently talking to these guys, or talking about Amazon possibly buying some FedEx and this and that and blah, blah, blah. But anyways, we seek our revenge here at that 124 spot. It only would have gone against us 40 cents if we had sort of just started this trade at that level instead of starting it early. And that's, again, tried to be disciplined, thought we did take that bottom out early on Amazon. So it was right. I mean, we did have written down 122, which was that pre-market bottom, but it only went to 120, 180. And then it was just short, trying to get short in front of that 123. We should have got out when it broke 123 instead of holding it for that ultimate top, but it just really got going there like real quick at about like 9:45. It took some of those levels out. And if you're going to look at a 20-minute chart, which is right here, these are kind of the levels that I was talking about. There's that 125. We could probably zoom this back out a little bit right there. And now you're looking at, there's 125. So just to have been patient and waited for that level was really the key, and that's where you had to have been at. So that part, that kind of sucks. So we'll just try to be a little more patient. And then there's that 124 top. Again, only went 40 cents against you. And now that I'm in this trade, obviously, we still have $1 in the money as I'm trying to hold on to a small piece. But it sucks because we should have more. Next time it comes up to this 124, we'll short it again. Don't know if that's going to happen, but here we go. Nice little move for Amazon today. And we're short right now, $1 in the money. But, patience is the key to this trade, and unfortunately today we didn't have it, but we'll be back. I like Amazon at this 124.
Amazon, we always say, you wish you could do this, you wish you could do that. I wish I had traded Tesla a little bit more like I was trading Amazon, because Amazon was the one that I was patient with, and I wasn't necessarily patient enough with Tesla, nor going back to it when the level failed. But waiting for 124, I mean, I was just looking at the 15, sort of the same way like Sean would have been. You had those highs at 124 from Friday. Any resistance that was in place while we were testing that 3,900 on the ES and then below that 12,000 on the NASDAQ, I just said, any big tech name, anything that I think is relatively weak, I want to short in front of resistance while the market's resisting those areas. And Amazon gave that to you. The downside of this trade is is really the fact that it's just supporting 123. So multiple times it's given you the curl, it's fallen and gotten to the low 123 area and then bounced right back. So rinse and repeat's been good, but always holding on to a core. It's never really breaking down at 123. I think if we do that this afternoon, we're going to 122 quick time. So I want to be rinsing and repeating here, making sure that we're sort of shorting off of that level. This was the one that, as much as, yes, off the open, it was a straight up long, and really 123, I suppose you could have gone long there. It's showing the signs that it wanted to reject that top at least. So I think we'll be working with this until Wednesday, at least this price area, that 24 to 25 for resistance on Amazon. The question remains to be seen whether it can actually break down through 123, which is what it would take for this trade to really, truly get its legs under it. If the market, we're red on, the NASDAQ is red on the day, right? It only feels like it's stronger than it is because of the way the chart looks, right? Gapping down and then a bit of a recovery. But we are red on the session. If we go further to the downside, this 123 should be challenged.
All right, we were discussing some of the, we'll talk about Tesla here, but we can discuss any of the EV names really because Tesla typically leads, as we've seen. A couple of minor notes this morning, including that Shanghai node when it came to production. So they did the upgrade to their Shanghai plant, now up to, or potentially up to 2,200 units per week coming out of Shanghai. Here's the other one. China sales channel expansion proceeding at normal pace was a comment from the company itself. If you remember going back a month or two ago, they were talking about shifting their focus when it came to more online sales in China and less in showroom type of sales in China as well. So that is apparently proceeding as normal for Tesla, guys. But as we said, the entire EV group still kind of in play here coming off of last week.
Yeah, so I did talk Tesla. Obviously, we did the trade of the day on Tesla. So I want to go over Lucid just because it didn't really get a fantastic opportunity to. And this was one where you just look at last week and it had this support on it. Sometimes you get these wick bottoms. Now, obviously, we did have that big market moving event and the big flush in the pre-market at 8:30, which sometimes gives you a bit of an artificial low. So it's not that I want to discount those types of support levels, but I'd rather see, can you throw that out when it recovers and then see the pre-established support, which was 1590 to 16, does that hold up? And it held up in the open market on the 13th, after we had that big CPI, and it held up the next day, and then it was holding up in the pre-market. So it was pretty simple to me, that 1590 to 16 area. I wanted to be long in front on Lucid until it broke, and then when it broke, you were breaking support to the downside, which sometimes that's a little bit easier, right? If support's breaking and stops are being run, even when the market is strong, the short ends up being relatively easy. So, it bounced off a couple of times at 16. It got up to the quarters or so, which was okay. But once it broke down on Lucid, the floodgates sort of opened up. And this is in the midst of the market holding up. You got to be able to consider that. So when we broke down here, I'm still in a piece of this. Got some out 80s, 70s, 50s. It's now trying to bounce off 1550. I don't think that's necessarily a coincidence. But certainly, when you get a floor like this breaking on a name that had been running so hot, and you look at the big moves that it was making, that's where you can get that big turnaround. So at least the relative weakness was there. It just took something breaking a floor. And I was working off resistance on a heck of a lot of other names. In this particular case, the break of support ended up making the better short today because it meant the stock was relatively weak. So Lucid, I'm happy that this one ultimately worked out. It could have been a heck of a lot better if I was looking short off of this level, off that Friday high, but admittedly I wasn't. I was only looking short if it broke that support level. So it wasn't perfect, but we got the short at least on something which followed through to the downside. Lucid, one of the weaker names in the market today, down 4%.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if you're going to talk about Lucid or Tesla there, but I just to let you guys know, I'm going to take Lucid long if it takes this level right here. 200 period on the 1 minute, plus you get this 1565 area right there. So let's see if it wants, it's got to get there first. I'm not going long now. If we can get back up to here for Lucid, I do like that trade coming in. So that could be something there. Just looking at Tesla, we've talked about that a couple times already on the day today, that 310 level. If you ever get back to this 308, again, that's a great short. You short 308, your out is $2. If the market craters, then you probably have a 300 fill, right? So again, $2 worth of risk if you go short 308 into the high when you have a lot of downside opportunity there. So I kind of like that look there for Tesla if it does come upside. It's the same way, right? If you want to go long on Tesla, you could take a 308 break and then kind of use the same area right here as support back down to 305. So there's lots happening right now in the EV space. For me, I'm going to stick with this Lucid trade. I kind of like the way this is going to look, especially if it does go up. And then I have an out at 1550 as well. So, you know, well structured here for Lucid. I like that trade a little bit better than them all. What are we talking about next? Apple and then Netflix. So just quickly here, Netflix #1 stock today. But, you know, looking at AMD right now, I just took another short on this name against this high. So this to me is well worth the risk right now. 76.60 high just to get something out. So we're short at 45. So a little bit downside pressure here, and we'll get a little bit out to go 1-to-1 and then hold for the rest. See if we get some bottoms. We've been shorting AMD all day here, and it's worked out so far. Again, it's stock that I'm up on, so that's good. We're up on AMD and Netflix today. We're down on Amazon and Microsoft. So we're going to be 2-2 today, and I shouldn't be down on Amazon. That's the bad part. But just to let you know where we are with AMD, let's go back to Brendan at the big desk and talk some fruit.
Apples specifically. Yeah, it was one of those days where tech in general led the initial move from negative territory back to basically where we are today, break even overall. One thing that seemed to help the rally today for Apple shares was this. A very well-respected tech analyst that covers specifically Apple out with a series of tweets today highlighting iPhone 14 Pro production specifically and saying essentially they're going to shift some of their capacity from the iPhone 14 to the iPhone 14 Pro models specifically because of just incredible demand and incredible pre-sales for specifically the Pro models, guys.
Yeah, so the thing about Apple that's going to be frustrating for me is like the level, I had the level dead on. It's just what I decided to do with it, which at the time, I was thinking short beneath resistance on the futures. Like that was the entire thesis of what I was looking for this morning. And then I said Apple 150, 150. In the pre-show, it's like 150, 150 stands out. It's Friday's high. It's Thursday's bottom. You break through there, and then you got to start thinking about the market being relatively strong. So when that happened, at least I was getting away from the notion of being all short everywhere and not looking at any longs. But really, the flip in Apple, like that was, we were already like jamming to the upside. I never liked the 150, so I would never have had that trade. But you know, it's like when you get out, sometimes it's just a perfect entry price. And you got to be thinking about that a lot of times. And I admittedly wasn't today. I like Nordstrom's, like I said, for the long I have here. I tried Netflix for the long, which didn't work out. That'll be my worst stock of the day because it didn't have any strength. But Apple, sometimes if the levels you like have to do with the futures, then trade the stock, or the futures themselves, or trade the stock that's going to follow it the most or drive that action. And that was Apple. The good thing is, at least the read was right at what price you did not need to be short anymore on Apple, because that was a pretty clear line in the sand if there was one. It tried to check up at 150, 150. The second it chewed through, it was off to the races. As a matter of fact, the market pulling back in, I'm going to be looking towards Apple at that same price. If it does pull back a buck, I'm going to look for that to be a potential support area. As the market is starting to come back to the downside, shorts are back in the money. Well, I mean, NVIDIA is back in the money. Amazon sort of already was. Lucid was already to the downside. But NVIDIA and those chips had been challenging the highs.
Apple is a stock that makes a lot of this. And you got to own it for sure. But today, definitely doing much better than the market. But we hit that because we ourselves are flossing it off a little bit right now because AMD just gave us that 1-to-1 back in. So here's some outs. 30, 31, 32, like we just took this for you back to back there since we've been on the show twice at 45. I went to 55, could have had a better out, but we'll start to empty out some of the clip right now as it starts coming back down, and then we'll see about like the next area here for AMD is going to be like 76.15, 76.12, something like that. And then we'll see if we can get another print down here at 76 and then see about that low. It's not the low from the day. The low is where we started and then the market just took off. But here we go. Can AMD still stay red? It's 0.27, market 0.27. So we're getting very, very close here. If the market falls, I like our chances to get a nice little AMD trade off here. And the market should come back down. It's rejected again, 12,000, right? So right there, 11, like Wow, that happened. I mean, we were trading live, so I mean, we know that that's where this happened. But just as we went off the air here at 11 o'clock, you did get one spike up to 11,980, pretty close there to 12K, and then instant drop off of that, like down 100 NASDAQ points. So boom off there. Let's see if we can do it again. I mean, it's got to get back up there, but here comes the NASDAQ trying to tick a little bit lower. So far, so good there. It'll bring Apple will bring down with it. Imagine if Apple was actually red today, how bad this NASDAQ would be. So there's a lot of names that are in a lot of trouble, and Apple's holding this market above water. It's not, it's below water, but it's holding it up right now, because without that name, like Apple is what, up 1.5, was it? It just was, I don't know what it is now. Yeah, 1.3. Like if this was minus 1.3, the NASDAQ would be down like 3 or 4%, right? So just be very, very careful here. Watch out for some of these positions, but Apple's saving the day right now. And actually, I don't mind it breaking through 153.50 if you want to try the long. Just be patient. That still has a while to get there. It could start to pull back now with the market. Big day for Apple. Congratulations to anybody that owns it.
Talk a little Netflix here. We were discussing how it was relatively strong once again in the pre-market, coming off a bunch of analyst notes once again this morning, talking about the ad-supported business. It's worth noting, I saw a few more during lunchtime on Disney Plus. So Disney Plus also going to come out with a specific ad-supported version that now some analysts are saying, okay, well, what about Disney Plus? In the same sense, guys, that Netflix, the ad-supported version, is going to give them more upside.
Yeah, well, ultimately, you got to figure across the board it's all going to be the same at some point. Right? And that'll be, everyone's going to have two versions. Do you want to pay so you don't have to watch some ads, or are you willing to live with it? I don't know. Like, at this point, I'm kind of accustomed to the no ads. So I kind of feel like a lot of people are just going to pony it up if it's not a huge difference. But a lot of people are probably going to be thinking about that cheaper price. Look, Netflix, for me today, I was looking at essentially two levels. We had a first bounce when it actually retook this 243, because the levels I liked in the pre-market when I sat down were not in play when this just absolutely broke out at 7 a.m. and was up like $10. So we did have that initial dip into 243. A lot of times when the market's doing a jam to the upside and something's giving the dip buy, I forget what it was last week. I don't think it was NVIDIA, but it could have been one of those names where I just took the scalp trade and said, you know what, if it's going to be testing this, just get it all out on if your initial dip buy works, which it did at that 243. It came right to 243, 245, and I was like, okay, well, I'll take a piece out. But that was a sharp drop down. I could have taken it all out there, did not do so, and that ended up being the mistake. It then tested that 240 level and was a stop out for me. Now, ultimately, if I had shorted off the 240 level, I don't know that would have made any sense. The real short would have been off that initial 243, and then things fell apart. So sometimes it's about where it's come from, and maybe we had just gotten a little bit, this wick's going to make things ugly. Maybe we'd just gone a little bit too far. Yeah, it's still there. We got a little bit too far, couldn't get to that 250 level, got close enough to 250, and just got some profit taking on Netflix, despite the fact that the market was strong. That's what it feels like here for me today, unfortunately. So, you know, at Netflix I'll take the L for it. I was heavily looking for shorts, and there was probably a short off that first level at 243 if I was looking at it at 11 o'clock. But at least we got out of dodge on this one when it broke that 240 level. And I still believe like that 250 to 255 area up at the top of the daily chart, I think that's going to be valid resistance this week if we get any other test up there.
Yeah, we were able to, the number one profitable stock on the show today for me would be Netflix there, as we got the short. So we were long early there on that 240 break. We were able to get that. Then when we got stopped out there, I just was watching it and was like, this is a weak name for sure today. Just couldn't believe it. We got short, 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 then out again, short, 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 out, 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 out. Like this is a $6 winner. This is 243 short, right? And all these are outs. This is a 239, so that's $4. This is 237 off of 243. That's $6. Then we just shorted again, made money. Shorted again, made another $2. And then just recently, right now, battled with that 239. It went short in front of 239 and got out a couple times. you know, noticing that VWAP is here, should have held it. But again, like averaging into AMD, I've got Amazon $1 in the money. Just wasn't sure about the shorts, but I really like this name short. I feel like 240 is a great little level. So I'm going to wait for 239.50 or so to come through here on Netflix. I mean, that's where I'm waiting right now. See if we can get some offers up here, right where we wicked higher. It doesn't have to be right there, like 239.40, 239.30, something in here, and then use this 240 as our top. So I feel like the top could be a little bit higher than this 240. So, you know, maybe we'll have to be a little bit more careful with that. Into here is a good level too, 241.30. So there are lots of trades to be done here in Netflix. Just, I think it's better to be a little patient and wait, because this market is not doing anything again. You could see lower, lower, lower. So you are starting to put in lower highs here, there, maybe again here, we'll see. But every time it gets up there, it does get hit back to the downside. But as you can see, we're not necessarily making lower, higher lows either here. So low, low, low. So the trend is still this way. It just looks like right now we're trying to break through on that. So I think, well, it's 2:30 now. We're doing like a little bit of a review, but I'm getting ready to go put on some more positions here, including averaging into this AMD right now as it just came up to VWAP. So I wouldn't mind getting some more shares up here as we wait at 49. It's 48. Man, I just probably should have taken 47s there. But we're going to wait for that. Up to 76.60 is my out here on AMD. Are we done?
We are done. Netflix was the last one. So I wanted to get to everyone, well, not everybody, but a few people noticing Alibaba made a break of its high of the day. The other thing it did, Baba now up 1%, as a matter of fact. It just took out this 87 level was previous support. Really, it was only broken, that 87, on Friday. So you just got there. On Friday, that little breakdown at that 87 didn't really last very long as we're reclaiming that price and now breaking back above it. So I kind of like this above that 87 level. This market wants, if the market wants to go and retest some of those highs, well, give me something that without the market getting to the highs wants to take out the top and try to run. So, Baba makes some sense to me. I think you can give it back to this previous support at 86.80 or so, maybe even the 75. But I'm going to look for Baba longs off this 87. Give it a little bit of space there. But I do want to be working what we're still in a little bit too, right? Like Nvidia is giving me. There we go. Load. Come on, chart. Do I have to go to the black chart? Yeah. So NVIDIA is still giving these opportunities off this 133 level. It broke out from this morning. I was shorting that 133. There was some success with it. It eventually stopped me out and then it ran toward this high, 34.5. But the afternoon has been giving this rinse and repeat off of this price area. So I want to go for some NVIDIA at this particular price and give my stop. It's just above 133, like a 133.10, where it's found a bit of a high. I think if it gets through there, then I'll give it up. Now it's almost done. There we go. Now it's not frozen anymore, because if you hit enter too quick and you type New York instead of NASDAQ, well, sometimes you got to give her a minute. But that 133.10 will be the out there on NVIDIA looking for that reload.
Oh, yeah. I'm trying to find some new names for you here, but I keep going back to the same ones. Apple's up to 153.10 again. NVIDIA's green on the day. Our AMD is trying to get there. Just did, actually, 0.07 right now. As we're getting ready to get punched out of this name. Again, last average in. We'll lose, it looks like, on the last little bit, which is fine. For me to do that, but we'll wait to see. It looks like it is trying to take it out to go back up to the upside. Name that wasn't on the review today that we're just barely flat on right now is Microsoft. We did have some big wins on it, though, but we also had some big hits on Microsoft. This was a big one for me right here when we shorted this 244.20 and brought it back down here to 243.40 and stuff like that. So good trade there for Microsoft. You can see it's kind of barcoding right now at this top level. So I feel like Microsoft's a great short into 243. So if we can get anywhere up here into the 80s, I think I like that. I'm going to sit there and take that. The NASDAQ is now touching the highs again. I'm going to get stopped out of AMD. I'm almost certain of that. But the NASDAQ is right back here. I wasn't expecting this. So anytime we get up to the top, I think you want to short some names that you believe are going to be weak. So, NASDAQ is going to be one, a weaker market, I feel like, than the S&P. But who knows? They're both flat today. Let's just I just find it hard to believe that we're going to be raising at least 75 basis points, possibly 1 full point on Wednesday, and the market still is fine with that. But hey, man, I mean, it's already known stuff. So the market is a future look, not current day's look. So we'll wait here. 242.80 right now on Microsoft. I really like that. And then we just use like a little bit higher than 243 as a stopping spot for us. So we're going to be patient with that. Here's AMD. So I'm just waiting for Microsoft. Here's AMD. It looks like, I mean, we got to get out of this. So that's it. We're going to get out of AMD, breaking the range. So something very, very similar happening to Microsoft. If I believed in the long right now, I would punch this long. I mean, we've broken it. You're seeing me not. Sometimes I reverse into the long. I'm not doing that here. Like, we might have just got stopped out at the top. I don't know. But until the NASDAQ really does make up its mind, I feel like I got to respect some of those highs and just trade it off that. So for right now, I'm going to wait for some softy. Everything is fine. We made back a lot of money, man, compared to what we were down there shorting Amazon early. But AMD right there, that took a chunk out. But 76.62, it just wicked high. Maybe that was the high. Maybe we can go short against that now.
So speaking of names breaking out the highs, Pinterest just broke out. And I remember there's always been some, not always, but recently been some takeout chatter with Pinterest that has been out in the ether. But it just broke out on volume, 25.15 up to 25.5. This is another name where, look, it's been pretty strong. If you look at where this was when it made some of those bottoms back in the summer, like that was down at 16. Like, you're up a good 50% and breaking out once again, trying to take out this 200 period moving average, which is more or less right here, right now. Now, every single time, I got to zoom in so you can see this on the daily. This is what's happened every single time it's tried to get that 200 period. At some point, you either reject this sucker and head back into the 50, or we get a close above that 200 period and some actual follow through on Pinterest. So it looks pretty strong if it finally does that for us here. So I'd be looking at that 25.50 area, which incidentally, you go back into last week, that was a bit of resistance and then a bit of support. This could be a strong one. It's even stronger if it can close above this 25.50, but I'll buy dips at 25. I'll take a 25.50 break as well. Brendo?
Yeah, nothing on that yet. Seemed to be just kind of a one-off volume spike for pins. But Mosaic also just popping up on a volume scanner, trying to get back to day highs, up 5% after a pretty ugly week last week for MOS. There was actually a note, also a note on Uber trying to get higher now. It held 31 and change there, rallying back to the upside. They came out once again and said there's still no evidence that the attacker that gained access to their system accessed anything that was sensitive to any of their customer database, guys, for Uber.
Uber, okay.
They say.
I just got into Lucid right here. Yeah, I don't know what they're saying, but yeah, I take them for what they're worth. Okay, $400. The price of $400 there on Tesla, 308 is what we're looking at. I just want to look quickly here. Lucid just broke through our price, so unfortunately, the stop order missed. I wanted 66s. It missed, which is fine. I punched into 68s right there, which is going to be pretty good. That level, I wish I would have looked at a little bit more. We should be long at 61, which would now be putting us in the money 8, 9, 10 cents here, but unfortunately we did miss that cover right there at 61. It was a little bit higher at the time, but that's fine. We wanted a 65 break. We'll have to pay 68. Whatever. My order went out. I just missed it. I only punched up to 66. It must have spiked up, and that's fine. So there goes Lucid right now. Hopefully we can get a nice little move to the upside. I did see that Pinterest spike. It doesn't look like it's following through too much right this second. I don't want to hold this for too long. I think if we break back below 60, we can get out of Lucid. So let's see if this one wants to run up to the upside. I'm hoping it does. And there goes the market right now as well. I've sort of canceled everything now because AMD blew to the upside. I was looking at Microsoft, but hey, why can't Microsoft just go up and then you use this as your bottom? Again, it's just not believing in the longs today really is what's hurting, because I really think this is a good trade for Microsoft too if you like the long. Possibly trying to get back to zeros here on Microsoft today. day. So that could be a good little look there. And then Apple, as the market booms up, I mean, you're going to have Apple coming up to its high of the day as well of 153.50. So there's still a lot of trades to be had here. You just got to be careful that you're in the right ones. I'm still waiting for Amazon to hit that high again. And then Lucid, we're obviously in that. And just looking at Lucid, let me see if I can get a target area to get out. I mean, there's some consolidation here. I guess we could take out a quarter or something if it gets to 80. I don't know. It might take a while for it to get there. I don't know. Lucid hasn't really been like motoring. This is like a big move upside here for Lucid off that 1550. So even though the market's rallying, it's taken about 15 minutes to go about 15 pennies. So we'll wait for it. Let's see if 1580's in the cards. Let's see if we can get back up to VWAP right now. That's worth it. It's 10 cents worth of risk. Let's at least try to get 10 cents on the first piece. So right now, that's what I'm looking at, and it's going to be Lucid.
And just a quick look at Tesla. Tesla bounced off VWAP pretty nicely, but also worth noting, 305 has been, all lunchtime, 305 has been pretty good support on Tesla. So I'm going to have a look at this. If we do get any kind of a dip, 305 to 307 looks like a scalpable zone. I took the break on pins. I'm going to give it back to about the 35 area. I have a trail on Lucid, which I guess it didn't hit yet. So ever since that 1590 breakdown, best out was at 1550, but I'm going to slap a trail. I mean, it's one of the weaker names out there, so I want to make sure that I got a trailing stop. Just because the market, it keeps wanting to test and go back, at least attempt to go back into the green. Hasn't really happened yet. Don't want to ignore Rumble. It's so tempting to just call it Rum every single time, but then, I'll say Rumble so that you guys know what I'm talking about. It just bounced shy of 15 even. The volume is really starting to taper off a little bit, but it's still doing a pretty solid amount of volume. And you put this strong move off of 15, and now it's holding a higher low. So I think what I want to do is sort of grab 30s to 40s, somewhere in here where I think the risk could be about 50 pennies through that 15 area, and then try and get it back to these highs, because there's still some room for it to run. But if it breaks this 15, you're probably headed down into VWAP or something like that. So I don't think you want to be too far away from that 15 price to work along in Rumble. Again, small caps, there's some small caps out there that have been still making some waves to the upside. This is one of them, obviously. There's a lot of strong names out there. I also want to look at Alibaba. Might be getting away from me a little bit, unfortunately. It's sort of hanging around this 87.25. No, okay, it looks like it still wants to consolidate. I'm trying to get 87s. If the market keeps creeping higher, I might just pay up and grab some in the 25 to 30 range. But for now, when I feel like looking for that BABA, NEO is another name that we were talking about this morning. I flipped from short to a long at 2025. Should have reloaded it at 2025. I scalped that to 50s. Now NEO is threatening the high of the day. So it looks like you are seeing a little bit of outsized strength in some of the U.S.-listed Chinese names. The U.S. auditors are actually in China right now, starting their audits, obviously. So this could be a bit headline-driven. You're going to want to keep your ear to the ground when trading any of these names the next week or two as these things settle out. VWAP looks pretty good as well at a 250 level. I don't know if I like a high break on NEO, so I think I'll be staying away from that. It does tend not to move a heck of a lot in the afternoons. That's why I'm looking for BABA over NEO, despite the fact that I do trade NEO a little bit more than BABA.
Oh, it's too bad it's not doing more volume. I'm trying to get some more short on AMD, but it needs to be near that 70 level, so we'll adjust that when it gets back into it. I did want to talk about a name that I've been sort of like hating on for a bit with a good idea. That's going to be Beyond Meat. I mean, this name just, again, like it touched 7. It's just not doing any volume right now. 3 million shares is okay, but you can see on the chart, I don't really, other than shorting that VWAP, which I didn't do, this name just continues to get beat down. So watch out for that 1722 to break. Again, not enough volume, but I feel like you can just keep being short this name without too much on worry here for Beyond Meat. So that's just another one of those names to look out for to see what's moving around. Okay, AMD, I'm just looking at TQQs. Tesla's back down to 306 right now, not doing too much. Neil just talked about Alibaba. Amazon, Amazon's another trade that I just put an offer in, waiting to get more short. It doesn't look like that's going to come through at all. Microsoft's nowhere near that 243 anymore. And yeah, our AMD did get stopped out there on the high side. So not on the high side, just through 60s. So now we're back down through 50s and trying to test lower. That's why I'm waiting for another move to the upside. AMD still, less than NVIDIA. I mean, NVIDIA's up 0.7 right now against everything else. Let's have a quick look at Meta. Again, another highly traded name. That 148 looks like a pretty decent spot there for Meta. But I just feel like the market is now pulling back in just a little bit here, creating, again, some of these moves for us to watch out for. So Meta, top side 140, yeah, 148 basically. I mean, I feel like we just got to wait. We're kind of in no man's land here again. I think Neil just said that term. But yeah, like we're just in the middle of this. So I don't really need anything to happen, either waiting for it to come into levels where we could buy it or into levels where I could short it. And I know that's like all that we're supposed to be doing here as day traders. But until there's something that's pretty visual here, I don't really see much. Shopify's up 3%. That could be a name maybe that on strength might continue to make a move to the upside. So Shopify at 32.60. Wow, look at this move for Shopify. It's a big one right there. Looking to, in front of 33 is nice though, man. That's okay. This could be a nice little level. Check the 20-minute range here. Where's 33? Right there. Goes back to the 16th. Yeah, Shopify could be something right there to trade here in the afternoon. But again, big time movement upside for Shopify. Just respecting this 50 period. Nicely done all the way to the upside. Now bouncing off this 70 level. So yeah, there it is, man. Shopify, nice little level, 32.70. I think we could take us short against that level. Maybe Shopify wants to go to the downside after just making that top at 70. This one might be worth the risk here.
Just looking at some other names that are relatively strong, pointing out that CrowdStrike is pretty strong here, getting close to 175. That's going to be daily chart. That's going to be a spicy level. Just going back into last week, right? You can sort of see lower highs right around that 175, rolling over at 176. Going to get close to resistance. I think it was Christopher in the chat sort of saying there, and he's right. Like pins coming back into that quarter. If it holds, good. Part of the problem with any of the longs right now, even I didn't get Alibaba, but you can throw Alibaba in there, or maybe Tesla 305, or maybe you're wanting a consolidation long on a CrowdStrike. It doesn't matter, but it could just be when we're making lower highs on the futures here. And I'm looking at this is the ES right now, 39, 38.95, 38.90. That none of the longs end up working out, and just sort of going back to anything that you liked for a short might be the actual jam. So, or better trade thesis. Unfortunately, I'm in the Lucid, and Amazon doesn't want to give me the price that I'd like to the short. So finding something else to grab the short in could be a good idea here. Just find something on that resistance level. It darn sure isn't going to be Apple. That much I can tell you. I don't really want any part of an Apple short. I already have one of the chip names, which kind of leads me back to. I mean, I'm looking at a firm here, and I took the breakdown at a firm when it took out that low, scalped some for about 20 cents, and then it kind of came back up here and then lost 20 cents back. It's done nothing, but it's testing a lower high as well. The futures are testing lower highs, the firm's testing a lower high. It just turned green, so if it goes back into the red, and of course, if I zoom out here a little bit so you guys can see on the 15, like where this is on the bottom, you have to be careful because it's pretty much at the lows of the last month. So it could just be finding itself a little bit of a natural bottom here. So it would have to be a relatively tight stop this far away from the high of the day. But at least it's giving me something which previously had some relative weakness that if it were to roll over here and put in a lower high, well, this was resistance in the morning when it flushed all the way to the bottom. If it rejects this level and the market heads towards its lows, then I kind of like what I'm seeing, but I need it to start coming down here. Right now, it would make sense if you like the short to just wait for it to get up to the top or wait for it to start failing this level here in a firm. So I am looking for some shorts as well. It's not just all about trying to find and force some of these long trade opportunities. I do like the short because we're still below that 39 on the NASDAQ. Yes, we're still below 12,000 on the NASDAQ. There's plenty to like when it comes to finding resistance in this market, as strong as it seems.
It's so crazy because, yeah, AMD's all the way back down. I'm going to take it short. So I got out of some Lucid there at 66 off of our 68 long. It's just not doing anything. So I thought I'd take a little bit of risk off, take a 2-cent hit on half of it. I still think we can get back up here. But if the market's just going to middle here all afternoon, then I'd rather just take the lumps on that and get out and see what happens on it. So that's what I'm doing right now with Lucid. So let's see where that one wants to go. I'm not sure, like I've just said. So I'm going to take a piece out on Lucid and just like re-look at this when it happens. All right, so that's Lucid. Amazon still $1 in the money. Shopify, we just took it. That's a new position right now. So we'll hit our new position alert there because we have Shopify at 60 right now. Short 57s, waiting to get more. So that would be nice if we can get it into the mid 60s. We almost did get some more Shopify there. So that's a trade that I'm looking at here as the short into hopefully at least breaking there. An update on Apple. I want to go short Apple just in case this market does give it back. And, Apple's basically like trading the market. So you have right here, this bottom. I think if we break it, that's a short I'm willing to take against what would be the new 50 period of like 94, 95. So a break back down below 60 for Apple. I mean, look how good it looks if you take it back. And again, we do have some wicks here, but let me just see if I maximize, okay, yeah, so that still looks okay. So right here, that's 60. So if you look back, right back into here, 11 o'clock, 11:50 or so, we had highs. We did wick higher into 84, 85. That would probably be like my stop if we do take this and then somehow get stopped out into that. So let's just wait to see. That's a 200 period. And again, I don't trust some of these lines because we have these outliers up here, but it doesn't look like there's a lot of volume with them. So as far as VWAP, it's not really going to affect it. And then the 200 period should be fine as well, not taking the closing print, so it's okay. But right there, I like that level, and that's a break. That break is 70. I don't know. I think that's a little too early. Let's wait till it breaks that 60 level, which it already resisted on. So I feel like we need to break that level, and then we're going to go short into this name, and that, of course, is Apple. So I like it short. I know that seems a little crazy in today's market because Apple is leading the highs here, but unless we get up to this high again, I want to leave it alone. So we break lower, fine. We'll see if we can start a trend into the close. But for right now, man, as we approach power hour, I mean, we had a nice move upside that got us out of our AMD, and now our AMD's back into the money. So I think we just got to be patient and wait for some of these levels to fill. If they do, great. If they don't, great as well. Sitting on cash is a trade, and you don't need to be into something just because you're trading. There's tomorrow, there's Wednesday is going to be monstrous. So hey, dollar saved today is hopefully $1.50 earned tomorrow.
Well, it's also like it's an extra arrow in your quiver, right? It's for a lot of traders, like if you're a day trader, yes, your risk resets every single day. But if you're swinging or you're retail, then it does matter, right? Like if you want to have more bullets in your chamber for Wednesday, then you want to save some of them. I don't know. Can you bring up the Rumble daily chart? Can you signal for a quick second? Because Rumble. Obviously, I was looking for that 15, sort of 30 to 40 area. Didn't quite catch it, and it's now breaking out of those highs. But as we get to it, if we can we go to Sean's chart for a second, guys? Lucas Fahad. Lucas Fahad. Can we get to Sean's chart for a quick? Yeah. Yeah. Thank you very much, guys. Thanks. So
full screen.
If you look at that daily high, like if we break out this 1650 and hold above, there is room to get to those wicks. I think must have been in the pre-market where it did get up to 18. Like there is some room to rally here on Rumble. So I do feel there's upside left. That being said, when you see that 1650, if we fail this after doing a false break, I am going to look short here through, give it a short, give it to the high of the day. It'll be a relatively tight stop, but there is room to the upside if this does want to go. I just want to make sure I acknowledge that. We had to pay for locates on Rumble today. They were, I feel like it was like 1 cent per share, so relatively cheap, which does mean, hey, there's a lot of people that have been trying to short. Well, I shouldn't say that. There is a decent chance that there are a lot of people that have been trying to short this as day traders and have been able to do so relatively cheaply. But when I see it getting above that breakout, that 1650 area on the daily chart, and sort of giving you that wick bottom, I always like that entry because I like the risk to reward. Like you grab something in the 16s. If it plays back to 15 or 15.5, that certainly works. But if it breaks this top, remember, there's room to $18 on that daily when you look at it. And if your charts don't convert, then thankfully we're able to show it to you there. Thank you, Sean, for showing that there. But there is that 18 level, so I'm not holding it through the high of the day or thinking that I'm going to hold this till the cows come home. This is, and I don't even know. I guess I know where the saying comes from. But this is one very short consolidation, breaks a high. I'm no longer going to be in Rumble. Bit of a bounce in Pinterest there, back up, giving me a little bit of relief. And then going back to Tesla. So, yeah, Tesla actually held VWAP, wasn't able to get that long. And Alibaba as well. Like, Baba was another one. I was sort of looking for it maybe to give a dip back. It's done nothing but hold the highs of the day currently on Baba. So, I might, if I want the long, I might just have to be sitting in it in the top of the range if I want to grab some Alibaba here, as the market is sort of inching and creeping to the high side.
All right. Oh, man. All right. So since you were gone, not much happened, but we did get our Shopify short again, averaged in price. This is exactly what we wanted. So, yeah, if it prints out for us, it prints out. If not, then we're out here at the high of the day. Well, the high of the day is only 70, actually. I was going to give this a little bit more room, or was I? Yeah, I was going to give this a little bit higher, but now that I see where that high actually is, I feel like we can do a little bit better on that price there. So Shopify does make a move back down, obviously as the futures crash. So let's see if we can get a bid at 60. Oh, darn it, we did not. But yeah, nice little move down. It just went to 60.59. I was actually waiting at 54 to get a piece out there because, again, we have a decent average price. Our average price right now is 63, which isn't bad considering we started at 57. Just should have played that patience game again as we just got to fill there at 65. So let's see, can it get back into 50s? That'd be nice here for Shopify. Let's see if that is one of those names that wants to come back in. Obviously, we're not going to get out at 60. We'll put a bid a little bit lower to get out of some, and then some again down there near 54. I'm actually just going to replace that with a little bit of a lower bid. If this market does crash, I want to be able to have at least something on board here. Give me that 50. Okay, good. Yes, we got a 58 right there. So that's a smoke and trade right now. Finally getting me a little bit more excited here as Shopify comes back down. We just took not a huge trade, but 64s to 57s or 58s there. That's 6 pennies. Got some decent shares on it. So let's see if Shopify wants to make another move down. Next bid, like I just said, maybe 55s, and then we'll go from there. But right now, Shopify is pulling back a little bit, so that's going to be a good one for me. And then we'll just look at else, man. Like, what's Amazon doing? Nothing. What's Lucid doing? Nothing right now. So I feel like that's why you have to look at other places sometimes and just hope that you're able to call a nice level out and get the fill that you want. Because, like, right now, here comes Shopify right back up to the upside again. Just dancing, but you know, looking at that, we'll see this 12,000 for the NASDAQ. Does it dare take it out? I don't know. We'll see. Intel back down to 29 as well. That just turned red. Meta, Apple up to 153.11. So that's not, we're not getting into any Apple trading right now. Come on, Shopify. Just pull down a couple more pennies. Give me one more little fill, and then we'll hold out and see if we can crack below 50. Just trying to get some risk out, man. Like, this market's too choppy. Like, if this was at the beginning of the day, almost a completely different story, man. We'd be holding for like something down here. But is this what the afternoon's going to be like? I mean, the market is near the highs of the day, believe it or not, and we have not great news coming, I feel like. So I want to try to be short. Okay, finally, there goes Lucid back up to the upside. So just like we took a little bit out when we were nervous that we were wrong, let's take a little bit more out here on the upside here for 5 pennies. So there it is. As soon as I put the offer in, we get a lot of clear out there at 73. So nice trading so far on Lucid. We took a 68 long. We got out there 66. So that's 2 penny hit. We'll take a little bit out now for 5 and see where we go on Lucid.
Hey, you know what? Just noticed another name that's relatively strong here. Might be worth a look. We're getting close to the highs on Meta. So, I mean, you're looking at things that are above VWAP and sort of looking for that potential breakout. I liked 149 this morning for Meta for resistance, so at least it didn't get there, which made it frustrating because that was pretty gold of a price if we could have gotten to that, I think, to the short side. But as we get closer, this looks like another one which, if we're going to break, Meta should be in the long bucket. So I'll be looking for 146.5. Also looking at a potential breakout at 148. It feels more likely the dip buy than any breakouts in this market. That's just sort of the way that I feel. That rum trade, still pretty much, yeah, it's still holding right here, right off that top. If it takes out the high, I want to get out of it. Just remember, there is some more upside there as well. Firm was a curl and then a stop pretty much right at that recent high. You can't really see it on the 15, but I can show you there. We had that little curl for the short and would have played it to VWAP and then down to 22s. But I'm going to stop out there because there's too much room to the upside to be hanging on to that, right? I want to make sure I have a firm stop in a firm. There to make sure that we're not holding on to this one against the grain. If it gets to 23, I would certainly short that level, but it's not there yet. Brendo?
A-firm, VTAQ, more SPAC action today. A ton of volume just coming off on this. VTAQ. The combination with Presto has been approved, shareholder approval, so another one that's going to be coming to market with its own symbol very shortly. Presto, not the Presto that we're used to here in Toronto, if you're a transit rider, but apparently a software company that is designed to monitor productivity in restaurants, guys, for VTAQ.
Yeah, if it was like the Presto system that we use for transit here in Canada, I would short the crap out of it. But it's not. It is certainly strong VTAQ to that upside. I mean, look, anytime I see that, I'm going to go right back to, you always talk about that $10 level. Well, you're pretty much resting right up above it or to it. And I think you're going to find some potential resistance when you get to that 10 if it does get there. So you got to watch out for it, that $10 level. Actually, no, it looks like it did touch. Yeah, like there was this one little spike on volume right up to 10 even. So you might actually get a secondary test of that $10 level. I'll be looking at that 10. Pretty much 10 and nothing else. I don't know if we have to pay for locates on this. Most likely you do. But for now, it's strong until it's not. A double rejection of the 10 level, and you'll find sellers running to the gates at that price. But a lot of times you'll get a bit of a floor or ceiling when you hit that on any kind of one of these like SPACs. So VTAQ, volume is fantastic. I think it can be a runner sort of in that RUM space as well, which, by the way, RUM takes out the high. Looks like it wants to go. It's not really doing a ton of volume. Oh, you guys can't see volume. There you go. It's not doing a ton of volume on this break. So I don't really love it for a top-end break to go long because it's relatively light volume. It did a heck of a lot more volume the last time it tested it. So I'm not going to be reversing. I think there is potential upside, but if it doesn't show me volume, then I don't want to be chasing that kind of a long. And then just going back over to, where are you, Baba? Alibaba, still in the pocket. Don't tell me Baba is also going to do what NEO does, where it doesn't want to break out from here. It's incredibly frustrating because it is strong. It's above resistance at 87 level. There's just no follow through up here because, as usual, some of these Chinese names just don't want to go. They don't want to move anymore in the afternoon. So I have to throw this one out the window with its brethren, I suppose.
Yeah, we're always wondering about that, why they don't want to move too much. Okay, so we got out there of Microsoft. We did go short. We took a little bit out, and then it just started to blow up to the upside. I have the stupidest. Down here, I got a part fill, so I have like under 15 shares left here as this is trying to run against me. So we did punch out. That's fine. We just didn't get out of everything when we punched out because we got an odd fill down there. So we're going to wait just to get some out. I might as well just bid these out. I mean, I might as well cancel my part fill. Oops, that's the wrong stock. That was Apple. All right, so let's cancel that. Put this bid out and just get out of. And now it goes up to the upside and just get out of that. We were lucky enough also to get out of some of the Shopify as that came back down. And like I said, right now the NASDAQ is testing the highs. So, if you're going to put on any shorts, like this is kind of where you want to do it because in this afternoon, this is sort of like what the levels have been doing is just giving us these trades when it reaches like these maximum kind of spots, right? So Microsoft, I like that 244. To me, Amazon would have been the best. Oh, that's still the NASDAQ. Amazon is a good trade to go short once we get up here. Still not at that 124. Shopify is starting to go upside. I was going to get out at 75. But again, we just got a couple decent outs. But as the market goes, so does everything else. So there it goes. Oil actually got positive today. It's back down now to 85 and change. There's oil. A nice little move down as that's now closed on the floor. But I think Shopify just made that top tick at 75 there. So that's probably worth taking another piece if it does come back in. And then Microsoft was at that 244 level that we talked about earlier on in the day. We did go as high as 244.60 when it got real exciting. But right there, that top again, 243.67. So some of these shorts, we're not using big shares or anything, but you are getting blown out of some of these as here comes Shopify right back down. So yeah, good little showing our hand for Shopify. We'll take another short upside there on this name as it did not want to take out 75, but came close.
And I want to hit one of the EV ones, but I got to find it on my page. We'll have to do this one. Hey, look, Tesla has been super strong, obviously, but it's been more of a roller coaster than anything else because like I said this morning, I was looking for the short side of the trade. It would have been nice if it could have dipped into support, but hey, at least something's breaking the channel. It did take out that 307. The bottom of the channel would be nice if you could have got it, but since we came on, there was probably one shot, and I wasn't sitting on the bid at the time, but it just broke 07s. Watch out. There was some resistance at 307.5. I've gotten some out there, and I'm going to look towards that 309, which that's where I was looking at that 308 to 308.5 is where we're short in the morning. We get to that price, and I'm going to take some profit. Part of the reason for that is we're not exactly, oh, there we are. No, we are. What am I talking about? I was about to say we're not breaking that 3,900 just yet, but we just took 3,900 again, so we couldn't get past 3,905. If that does happen here, this market has room. So you can want it. I can want it to go down all I want, but it doesn't matter. This market seems to want to go the other direction, and that other direction is up. Apple just broke the top two.
Oh, did it? Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
well, just barely. It's actually at the previous high was 153.46. It looks like it got to like 51 or 50s. So it's barely broken the top at this particular point. But yeah, the long's starting to come in. That does mean that the one tried and true short today has, for me, at least been Amazon. That's getting back close to that 124 price, where if we get a bit of a curl, I'm going to look to see if I can't reload this one. But if we take out that high, which sits on the ES pretty much one or two handles away, I don't know that any resistance level is going to matter if we churn through a level like that. Tesla getting up to that 308, so that looks like it wants to run. Pins is back, trying to test back toward those highs. Oddly enough, Nordstrom's, which I'm still sitting in, this was strong this morning. And I kind of said to myself, okay, well, give me something at the top of a channel, buy some VWAP, but it doesn't seem to want to break out. So unfortunately for Nordstrom's, they had found support in front of like 1910, but can't seem to get past 1930. So a bit of a disappointment because it was super strong, or at least earlier on in the session.
All right, I'm just setting my orders up here because we did go shorter on Softy right now as it just ripped up here into these levels. So this is, again, like I said, let's just see what this market wants to do. It's taking out the highs right now at 305, like pretty unbelievable, to be honest with you. The Nasdaq's up 0.4 today. Okay, just was not thinking that this was going to be a green day. So we're going to try to short some of these tops as we've come through. We do have Shopify that reloaded it to the upside. Lucid, we got out some nicely done at the top side of Lucid as well. So we'll just keep getting some more out. But there's Shopify on the reload. There's Microsoft. I mean, these orders are sort of already set, so let's just wait. Shopify short 66, we just got that short 70, and then it just pulled back down a little bit, so let's take advantage of that now if we can get a 63. It's funny because you think you can get, there it goes, you think you can get fills, but realistically, you got to be sitting around here and just like hoping that your orders are going to fill because it pulls right in, and sometimes they run you over and you don't even get the fill. Like, you'll get the fill if it runs you over, but it'll come right down to your levels, what I'm getting at, and just stop. So okay, there we go. I had a 62 there, and as you can see, it filled everything at 62. So far, so good here on the Shopify bid. I'm just going to put a little bit more out. We just missed that 61, but we're going to put some more out here on Shopify and see if we can get it to pull back down through 60 and even lower and test that 50 period right now. So a couple shorts here on Shopify. And again, we're up pretty good here. So just be careful with this short. I'm not 100% convinced that this is going to work. I'm not convinced that anything is going to work, but for this one, I like it. Let's see if we can get that fill back to 55. Here we go. Give me that 60. There it is. Yes, sir. As it rips down below 60. So now we're at 56. Maybe we do get a little bit of a better fill here. We are $1 in the money on Netflix as well.
Yeah, I just grabbed some. Look, obviously, I talked about the one thing that's been tried and true. And so Amazon 124, it just rejected. It got to 123.95, was able to get some 91s in there. So that's going to start to pull back in. It's just like some names are rejecting these tops or rejecting levels a little better than others. Amazon has definitely been in that bucket. So we'll try and take advantage of that as it does come back down in there. I don't want to forget about Apple in that regard because, look, as it's breaking through the high, I almost want to think the other direction in Apple. Like if we make another run at this top, Apple 153 is going to look pretty juicy. And when I say another run at the top, we're above 39, but we're still testing that high. So it's like 39.04 about on the ES, and the NASDAQ about 15 points or 18 points away from getting all the way to that 12,000. So look, if we take out 12,000 on the NASDAQ, it might just be kaputs for any of the shorts that I'm trying to make work, and then only work into some of these longs because, you might not think it was going to happen, but we're 0.5% almost on the NASDAQ here, Brendo.
Yeah, another one showing all kinds of strength here this afternoon, guys. Wix.com, remember, was on the watch list this morning. Yeah, Starbird taking a 9% stake in Wix.com. Just tested highs there. 6 times relative volume on this one today, guys.
Ooh, they got a lot of wicks on that stock. We'll have to look at that. Microsoft, again, a nice little take there. We're short at 20. We're just getting some out here as the market has fallen back in for Softy, so that's good. I didn't talk much about the Netflix as we were talking about it, but then all of a sudden just went straight up into the money there. We did short that 241. Again, we talked about this level earlier, right in there, 241.31, so that's basically where I'm going to get out. But on this rip up, again, we're very, very patient with our levels. We initially started right here. We let the market come come in, and then we just take it out for literally $1. I mean, then we took out 40% there for that dollar win. So, I mean, yeah, we'll say WTF, and hopefully it goes back down in again. My next out around here, 238.50 for, see if we can make 250 on this name. Netflix, my number one stock today. All right, Microsoft also, you know, seeking revenge on this name as well, on Microsoft, as this has been a tough one for me here today, so we can check out that back down. I mean, it hasn't been a tough one, it's just that last out kind of sucked. But now we're gonna watch out for Microsoft right now as that's pulling back into the low 90s. I'm just gonna, shoot, you know, I'm gonna bid right now. Whatever, man, I just punched them out 95 there. And as you can see, it's having a hard time making this move all the way to the downside. My best out in the last little bit is 88 right there, and there we go. Good thing I just punched some 95s out as you're starting to go back up to that upside one more time. So yeah, so far so good. We'll hold on to some of these shorts. Shopify, we got a bunch out. Shopify actually just went down. Look at that, Phil, 55. We talked about it bringing it into the 50 period, so that's exactly what's happened here with Shopify. So far so good on that reload. As the market is trying again, looks like these shorts aren't gonna work, man. That's why I'm trying to get them out as much as possible. I just now have confidence in going long up here. So I want to go short at good prices. So if you're not confident in longs right now, I probably would stay out of the market, because like we're just scalping this right here. I mean, if you want to take a short now, fine, but use it against some of these highs that are in, right? Like Netflix, we break above that 241, I'm gone. Like, you got to have rules about all this kind of stuff. Amazon's just basically ripped right back up to the upside. I'm holding a very small piece so I can watch this. Again, 124.30 or so is going to be a good short for me on Amazon if it ever gets up there.
Well, we just got back to 39. I was just looking, I looked at NVIDIA, but then I looked at Intel, which could go red in like 2 cents or so. Look, anything that's making lower highs as the market retests the high, that'll give you a sense of relative weakness. Obviously, I mean, I don't think that's actually saying a heck of a lot, but it's bearing mention. It's worth mentioning here. So I do want to take a look at Intel to the south side. If we're not going to actually follow through past the highs of the day, then Intel off of these lower highs is going to make some sense to me. For now, like, there goes Amazon. We keep talking about it. Like, it just took that 124, so that's going to be gonzo. Tesla, I mean, Tesla just gave me target at 308. At 308.50. So the long, obviously, at this point, like, that's the one that's actually working. The breakout long. Pins is back up to 2040. I mean, Apple here is at 154. It just touched. Like, the Apple's the one that, like, this is the one, man. We just took 12,000 on the NASDAQ. Gonna have to get into some Apple here, whether it's on a 154 break or just taking the first available dip, as we're now well through that 3,900 level. Like, this market is just booming to the upside, and it is led primarily by Apple. I know Tesla's strong too, but there's no question who the big dog is this afternoon, and getting a piece of the pie is certainly gonna make some sense. Obligatory, I will show you what's finally happened in Alibaba. It's like, give me a break, right? It does nothing, so I'm like, forget about BABA because it's not moving, and then the second I forget about BABA, BABA takes out the high and wants to continue to the upside. That's as frustrating as it's going to get for me in Alibaba. You know, I liked it, identified it, but then I got away from it when I was convinced that, just like NEO, it wasn't going to actually move. So bye-bye Alibaba. Looks like that one is going to the upside without me. Pins, like I said, back up toward that top.
Wow. Yeah,
the market now, like you said, through that 12,000, looks like it's going to get rather impressive. I'm going to take some more pins out as it gets closer to that 50, and then also get some out there if it gets up to that 75 mark to the upside. But getting back into Tesla on dips and buying into Apple on dips is going to make some sense for me next. Oh, I'm going to be pissed off about that BABA trade. Should have just left that stop in.
Wow, big time moves to the upside right now. I mean, that's why we get out of that Netflix. Like, I didn't even really break anything, but, you know, take the profit and come back. And, you know, my net's not even that bad right now. Microsoft does blow up to the upside there. Again, shorting, just shorting. Like, when you're, that's what I was saying before. Like, when you're in at the right prices, like, everything matters, right? Like, that way, when you're out, you're not that bad. You got to be disciplined when you're taking some of these trades. So that's really saved me here as I noticing, like, I came back, thought, oh my God, we're going to be in big time trouble, but we're not. So, so far so good here as the market continues to move up. Apple will release a fix for iPhone Pro camera. Okay, so there must have been an issue with the camera, so no deal there. All right, Shopify still holding out at these highs. I still feel like this is probably worth another shot here on Shopify, as it did not take out the highs as the market ripped up there to these levels. So let's try another one. Oh, of course, as soon as I put it out, we get it. And then my out is going to be just making sure that we have the same outs here. I'm going to put another offer at 74 because my out's going to be about a 75 break, a little bit higher than that. So maybe 74 is a little too spicy there. But there it is, a nice little short in for Shopify. Let's see if it can come back down. Microsoft's starting to take off a little bit to the upside on that trade. So we're going to get some more pieces out on this. And like, I think Neil just hit the nail on the head, right? The break of 12,000. So that's what sparked this to the upside. So if you're still in positions, just be weary of that little number right there at 12,000. There it is right there. That could have just been the target. And now we'll see if it fades back out. But wow, the NASDAQ up 0.63, oil up now, and the S&P now up 0.5% as well. So wow, everything moving. I wonder what crypto's doing. You didn't break, but your boy Troy traded. Yeah, funny one there, Playmaker.
I actually got it here.
What's that? You got the Bitcoins?
Yeah, look, we're still kind of, it is bouncing. I don't want to make it seem like we're not bouncing here, but my 4-hour chart, because I like a higher time frame when I watch it, you are just now getting back to like some of these lows that we saw a little bit earlier on, I guess I guess on Friday it looks like, or on Thursday. But you look back to this 1940, 1950 area, not quite to 20,000. I think there's going to be resistance at 20,000. I don't know that that's maybe going out on too much of a limb there. But watching Coinbase in particular, I would have thought this might be over VWAP by now, but down 7%. Wow, Coinbase is having a rough day. Like, that's a pretty strong downward trend. I mean, I'm sitting around looking at some other names to go short in, like Intel, which in the midst of all of this, Intel has gone 3 cents against me. But Coinbase is sort of sitting here at 69 below VWAP. If we fail this breakout at 12,000, I mean, Coinbase, how is that not headed back down toward the lows? Like, that's relatively weak. Intel's not bad. Don't get me wrong. I mean, Intel's sort of sitting in this channel, didn't take out that high. And as I see it not take out that high, I should be trying to add at least some here. Got that stop at 29.40 to be able to get out. But Coinbase is in a very similar sort of range here where it's relatively weak, only it's below VWAP. And it's consolidating. So if it fails this high and fails VWAP again, I need to see us actually failing 12,000 to get into it. But if we get back below 12,000, I know a name I want to go short. And it's going to be Coinbase. I just don't want to do it while we're breaking out of these prices. I should be looking for opportunities to go long in relatively strong names until we actually fail to break out in the futures. Brendo?
Yeah, go ahead, Brendo.
I was just going to mention, guys, a worthy note, anyways, a quick look at the social sentiment board at this point this afternoon, because there is a lot more green creeping back into this board after it was primarily on the red side all day. But look at still, at this point this afternoon, how much red is on this board outside of Tesla, that Rumble, Apple, ABCT, NVIDIA, and AMD. Everything else to the downside, including AMC, HKD, we haven't mentioned a lot today, but DWAC, Mullen, and yep, the overall market's still pretty negative on here.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like there's probably a degree of lag. Maybe when you get these, we just took out the high. Obviously, the market is only up 0.6% or so, but maybe that'll change. If we close at these highs, that might change a little bit there. Apple still tracking, hasn't really broken that 154 just yet. I am looking to try and buy a little bit of a dip here if I can catch it in Apple. Still have these crazy wicks. I guess if I zoom in far enough, it cleans it up a little bit. So if we do get a dip, about 50 pennies or so, I'll try to jump into that. Tesla, sort of, for now, just one and done on the break of 307, but it's not like it's going anywhere. Like, the market's taking fresh highs. Tesla is $2, I don't know, $1.50 or so, $1.50 away from its high of the day. So you're not exactly breaking out in Tesla. That's why I wanted to make sure we grab the profit on this. It's not at that high or breaking that high, which incidentally Alibaba did do, unfortunately for me, and to my chagrin. But I don't think Tesla necessarily is going sky high. If it does, fair enough, but I'll be looking to buy dips in Tesla like I am Apple relative to sort of buying it at any of these highs. I don't think that makes sense. If we're testing back lower now, and if we get below and fail that 12,000, it is Coinbase that I'm looking for. I did grab Intel, but Coinbase I think has much more potential in terms of something it could really track back toward these lows. So eyes on Coinbase, but that 12,000 bit of a barrier for us now.
All right, so we'll spin it again here because fail on Amazon. We talked about this trade again here that we wanted that trade up to this 124.50. So we did it and we waited for it and we picked on it, and then now it is nothing but for Amazon. I mean, we finally, like, honestly, if I ever become a patient trader, I mean, this could get nasty. I mean, if we just waited for all these trades to happen and then didn't lose on, like, you know, diddling in the middle on some of these things, we'd be there. But that's okay. We're going to improve every day as we go. There it is right there. That's why we hold on to this Amazon trade, right? So when it comes through, you put on your risk, and then here it is. Hopefully it can fade back out to the downside. That's the next stage of my progression, is to trying to hold things for as long as possible there. Remember when we were long Lucid and I was long down here at 68 and I said, we'll just wait for 78, take that 10 cents. Well, I mean, I didn't. I was impatient again. Out some 74s. I was so impatient we got out at 66, 74, 74, and then now we're getting out at 78 and 79. So again, another good call that we made here was going to be Lucid. It's just like, why did we get half out there? Why? Because I was nervous, and then there's the upside tick. So it goes both ways. Like, sometimes you get out early and it pays off. Like, if Lucid was all the way down here, I'd be like, oh man, good thing I was smart by getting some out there, right? So it's just one of those evil coins that no matter what side you flip, it always seems to come up tails. Okay, Amazon. My next bid is down here in the 10s on Amazon. So like this level right there is 124 flat. So we'll take a little piece out. That, you know, these tops are 10, and it's kind of just data mining at this point. Like, if it comes back down in, then it's going to fill. Like, even right now, I'm like, oh, I got to take another piece out here. Why not? Because it's at 15. So there it is. So we'll take another piece out. Hopefully, give me that 15. Stops on 15. There it is. Takes out 15. So we'll spin it one more time. I'm sorry if it's annoying, but when we make it, we got to. It is contractual. There it is at the downside right now, as here we go. Amazon, we be patient, we wait, we strike again with Shopify. So that's another one there that we strike with. And of course, I try to get out and it goes up, but there it is, another one for Shopify. So some of the shorts here, by being patient, are finally starting to come in.
Exactly, and that's what you got to do. So I said the second we get below 12,000, short Coinbase because of the relative weakness it had. I mean, not even at VWAP, like, give me a break. That's going to be one that stands out there. So jumped into it the second we got that curl. The second I saw it below that 12,000, I was like, oh, we're in this consolidation. Grab some 68.90s. Going to work this one down. We'll take some out on the way to 68. If this market truly wants to fall apart, I think you could see even lower, even to the low of the day. But we're still pretty much, we're 0.5% up on the NASDAQ. Like, that's a pullback of like 5 or 6 handles in the future. So you got to make sure you're paying yourself on the way here. With only 40 minutes to go as well. If you're tuning in for the first time, Sean and I and everyone at Day Trade the World has to be out and flat out of their positions by the end of the day because it is day trading.
Wait, what?
Right?
Yeah, you're right.
Brendo?
Just having a look at some of the treasuries, guys, heading back to the upside with stocks, which is a little strange. But here's the 10-year. Trying to get back above 3.5. Remember, we got above that this morning, got slammed back to 3.44. I'll flip over and show you this as well. There's the 2-year. Wow. The 2-year approaching 4% right now. Everyone talking 4.25, 4.5 by the end of the year. So there you go. Happy to tell you as well, in preparation for the Fed coming up on Wednesday, just confirming head analyst at Financial Juice, Tony, going to be back with us Wednesday morning. So we'll have Tony on, talk about what to expect going into the Fed at 2 p.m. in the afternoon, guys.
I like that. I like that. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, the more talking, heads and the more ideas and everything like that we can have for you guys, I think better. I mean, I learn a lot when those guys come on, just simply because they're smarter than me. So that's great. We'll welcome those guys from Financial Juice. And of course, we get the imbalanced data. Well, we don't get the data. We get the data from our providers, but we do get the early look numbers from Financial Juice. So we want to give a big thank you to that. And that's all public knowledge. So whenever Neil and I will say, or Brendan will come out and we'll say 300 million to sell, that's just what's published there from Financial Juice's website. And maybe we can even talk to him about that if he knows, what that data is and if he has any insight on that for you guys as well. So yeah, that's great. That's coming up Wednesday. Did you have a time yet, or just
morning?
Yeah, morning, but like
probably 10:45.
Yeah, 10. Okay, yeah, okay. So it's a 10:45. So we'll get that. Yeah, not pre-market, but we'll get it as it's going in some of his ideas there. So yeah, around 10:45, 11 o'clock. But anyways, join us obviously on Wednesday, as that's going to be a major day. Something about interest rates or something.
Yeah, well, it's like, imagine we actually do get not 75, but a full basis point. I think that'll be, that's kind of the litmus test. That could be a bit of a shock. Stocks like Tesla are probably going to react to that a little bit here. Tesla's still in the barcode range. However, Apple, which, oh goodness, Apple, forget about the dip. Like even that little muted pullback that we just saw in the market, Apple, yeah, nothing. I mean, it's still at the high, right at that 154. Man, if we're back above 12,000, it's just at some point I'm just going to forget about it and just take Apple long through that high of the day. It doesn't want to dip on any kind of a pull. Then if we're going to maybe retest those highs. The good thing about this, man, I got to zoom way in to get rid of these wicks. The good thing about taking a break in Apple here is you kind of know where you're going to be wrong. Like you give it back to that 75, it goes or it doesn't go. It's going to, you know where to get off the pot. But I don't want to take that break if it's after 350. So it's about 25 minutes for it to maybe go here. Apple definitely the leader of this market. I don't want to be looking short. Like I said, I have Coinbase, I have Intel. I feel like I'm covered if the market goes down in two names that aren't strong. Or I shouldn't say that, the two names that aren't as strong. Intel actually is up 0.25% on the day, so I don't want to say it's down or anything. Coinbase is down 6%, but relatively weak is the way to think about it here. And Apple, all kinds of relative strength. I think anybody can see that this afternoon. So if I have to take something breaking out, Apple does make some sense for me.
But I'm just making sure that we have the right amount of shares here because Amazon is here. I'll put it back over to Amazon. Amazon is coming back to the upside here, and I just got to make sure that we have the right breakouts in case we are incorrect on this price. So yeah, back into the 40s. We'll take a few more shares if it does come back up into the 40s, kind of like where we were before. So we'll take another 42 fill or so on that one, give us the same kind of average price, and then we'll watch to see if it takes out that high of 50. And look, man, I mean, this is why, like, you know, you're going to see me just get out of stock sometimes when this is going crazy like this. You know, again, if we're going to barcode and we're going to do this kind of stuff here, and especially when we're going to do it on the high of the day, kind of seems a little bit silly there at the bottom. Yeah, I'm not going to sing it, but there you go. Thanks so much to Playmaker one more time, man. Congratulations to your Dallas Cowboys. You know, quarterback standout Cooper Rush yesterday took you guys to the promised land when you beat the defending AFC champion Cincinnati Bengals by a last-second field goal. So congratulations to that, and thank you, Mr. Playmaker. I saw your tweet as well, man, looking sharp in the hat. So what's up to you, Playmaker? Thank you so much for that. And yeah, back down to Miami. And by the way, Playmaker, my daughter's favorite team, I said this last week, and that was before they put up that fantasy monster, Neil has Waddle. But wow, what a day for Waddle, Tyreek Hill, Tua. Like, that might be the best day in, like, Miami Dolphin, like, fantasy history. Obviously not franchise history.
I'm sure Dan Marino's done something. You don't think?
6 touchdowns. How many yards did Tua throw for?
Look, man, if Marino's never had a day that matches that, I'd be a little bit surprised. But so, by the way, I'm now long Apple and out of Coinbase. It's one of those types of days.
Brendo.
I just want to clarify quickly, guys. Some people were a little bit confused. Maybe we can have our Tony on that day as well, but I was mentioning Tony Knack, who's the head analyst over at Financial Juice, not Tony the Tiger, guys, sorry. But maybe we can get Tony on as well that day. But yeah, Tony Knack, head analyst from Financial Juice on Wednesday.
I mean, we can get Tony.
Not maybe.
I mean, we can get Tony.
You want Tony on? I mean, that's just, yo, Tony, what's up? Yeah, we get Tony on, but I know there's going to be time because, on Wednesday, I guess, we'll come back early, I guess, that day. We'll figure that out.
For Fed days, we're coming.
We're coming back, but we'll announce that on that day, and then maybe we can have Tony quickly, and then the number will come out, and then boom goes the dynamite on that. So pay attention to Wednesday. Obviously, we'll be here for you all day on Wednesday with coverage in the midday show with Pratt and Sharif and Ian or whoever's on there that day, and then we will come back with ourselves. But stay tuned for that. And yeah, Tony Knack from Financial Juice.
Okay,
yeah.
Look, some things I can't leave in the chat. Like a couple of things, like when we don't get 1,500 likes, it gets us a little bit ornery. But if you're going to come out here and tell me that the Bills are going down to Tua next week, look, I understand. Like you want to hype for your team, and you're probably a Miami fan. I respect that. Always hype for your team. But if you truly and honestly think that's going to happen, then I got zero trouble next week. I will paint, I don't know what we'll come up with for whoever that was.
Is it Miami Buffalo?
It's Miami Buffalo next week.
I wonder what the spread is. Is it in Buffalo?
Allen's going to crush them.
Yes,
you guys can figure out something that anybody who wants to take that side will do. I don't mind like doing some kind of a humiliation bet because I'm just so confident in my bills. I just don't give a damn. But I got to figure what the other side's going to be, man. Like
It's hard because they're on the other side of the
It's hard because
camera.
like you guys, again, I hate doing something against somebody else, but I wish someone around here would want to take that because I don't give a damn how good Tua looked against. Look, man, it's just
who are they
going to
against?
be against
Baltimore?
The Bills are a different beast. That's all I'm telling you. It's going to be a different story.
Is it in Miami or what?
I don't care where the game. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where the game is. I mean, Josh Allen's going to go ham on them. Okay, so anyways, back to the markets because you get me worked up if you start talking about my Bills, man. We're gonna win this bad boy tonight, and we're gonna win it next week. We're probably going like
Bills
13
by 5.
and 4.
Bills by 5.
You better believe it's Bills
the
by
line
5.
in Miami.
I don't.
Wow,
like I said.
Yeah. I got what you said. But regardless of what it is, it's gonna be a great game. I think.
Oh yeah.
I think so.
Oh yeah.
I think.
Come on now.
Yeah,
Come on.
I mean, that might have been a big day for Tua and company, so let's wait to see.
It was a big day.
No, it might have been the biggest day.
Yo,
So
Jalen Waddles,
we'll see, man. We'll see.
play.
Miami's good, man. They got Tyreek. There's only one Tyreek Hill, so yeah, you got to use him up to you can.
And
All right.
Mostert's pretty. Their running backs are fast.
Yeah. Edmonds, I might have lost his job there.
I don't want to talk about Chase Edmonds.
Okay,
man.
so here we go. Amazon, high side there. Shopify, we got stopped out, but again, like all these wins, just in that last average in. So Shopify is going to be there, but it did break higher as the NASDAQ is now holding, I don't want to say firmly above 12,000 because it's 20 points above, but you did break out. We've adjusted that expectation now, and right here, 12,000, well above it. And sorry, I don't mean to say well above it. We held it pretty well there, and we only dipped down 10 points to rip up 20. So that's something that, again, you guys could look at. Like when it failed and tried to go back down, it only went 10. On the upside, it broke up and went 25 there on the upside side. So we'll see if that can hold out. I'm still trying to hold out hope for this Amazon trade back down to the downside. Meanwhile, Lucid just continues to pump it up, so we'll spin the money for Lucid there because, again, this was a name that we talked about going long once it broke through that level. So we found a name that was beat down on these bottoms. We went long, which is nice. I mean, if you went long anything in the last hour, you're probably up. So that would make sense because it's been about an hour and Lucid is now upside right there. So is Fubo the next Netflix? No. So what's up, Paul?
Yeah,
thanks for that. Nothing is the next Netflix, to be honest with you. So we actually talked about this, what Amazon's paying $100 million for every single game on Thursday night.
Well,
there's only so many.
But also content too. I mean, you can't
There's only so much content.
Netflix has so much content out there. Like what? You can't make the comparison. You can make a reasonable comparison Disney Plus and Netflix because of what they're doing, but I don't. Fubo, no. I mean, Fubo, you can make a case for the stock where it is. For a couple of things first, Apple, just whatever. It broke. It's already making another fresh high at quarters here. We're continuing to run. I just want to see if I can hold this into the imbalances when they come, but Intel is going to stop out. Right? It breaks this 29.40, and I'm going to get the you-know-what out of Dodge because the shorts don't work forever. I almost said like fours because of 40. But look, you can make a case for like the stock maybe giving you something because of how cheap some of these get, right? And chart, there we go. And it's making another one of those runs. Remember $5, however, seriously, daily chart? I remember $5, however, has been a big resistance level. I tried the long when we were breaking out the 5 last week, and we only got to 5 quarters. So this has an obvious head and shoulders coming into play if it gets to that 5 even, 25 cents away today. I don't know if we see that today, but we could see that tomorrow. That's for sure. So watch out for Fubo again retesting that 5. It does set up pretty nicely if it does take out that 5 quarter. I like the 5 break because of how much room it had to run. You know, it's a consolidation long off 250. Breaking the 50 period on the daily, trying to break out on the daily as well. But it failed the last breakout, so I need to see it above that 5 quarter before I'm taking the day trade long. If you got it right now, congratulations, up that 7%. But I mean, that doesn't make it a Netflix fact. It's having a good day.
Yeah, I'm going to. So we did get out there at 154.50, and now I'm sure 154.55. Didn't really give this enough room. I want to give Amazon up to 125. We've talked about this level, but here it is breaking again today. And just, yeah, we can't do that. And by the way, I'm going to try to fix these chart problems. I've already, we're working on that right now. So I went right to the top today and told them that we need to get this fixed. So hopefully that will get fixed pretty soon. 125. I mean, I'm not really too worried about exact price. That's 125.15 there on Amazon. I don't know if that really matters because you're starting to make that move to the upside here. So we'll go short again. We're short right now on Amazon, but yeah, up to that 125. I mean, it's on the sticky note that was the level that we like. So let's try to respect that here and see if we can make a little bit of money off of a 125 short here for Amazon. I don't even know if that's, I don't even see that on my other chart, but okay, 125 coming on Amazon. That's a level that I want to hold against. What's up, Brendo?
Bed Bath & Beyond just popping up here. It's up 2% anyways on the day, but this was just posted. This is Bed Bath & Beyond's website, not Amazon's website. So apparently you can get same-day delivery on Amazon now from BBBY. So that just happened.
So close, man. It's 3:33. We almost went the entire trading session without talking about one of the squeeze stocks. Which, I mean, I can't remember the last, I'm sure it's happened at some point. You guys probably like, boy, you didn't say it on Tuesday of last week or something. So it's entirely possible. I just can't remember the last time we didn't talk about them. I do want to point out Nordstrom's did break out finally. It just got to 1949, so close up to 1950. I want to give it some room. We still have almost a half an hour in the day. If it does break 50s, I'm looking for the 75s. But I'll slap a trail on it. If we break 50, I'll slap a trail back beneath that one at 45 even. Right now, if it gets below 35s, I'll get it out. But I just want to, this is the move I was looking for earlier on in the session. And maybe this is, you know, it's just waiting around too long, but it's finally made that break that I was looking for, and I want to give it a chance to get up at least closer to that 20 even, to that upside. Apple continues to churn. I'll get some out 154 halves if it gets there, and then try to hold into those imbalances, which right now, early look is a 423 million to sell. So, you know, take that for what it's worth. It doesn't mean the market's going up or down. It does mean that currently the imbalances would come to the sell side, which maybe that'll stall us out in this move a little bit. Pinterest has only gotten back to those highs, so it's held the breakout price, but really because I bought some at the top, this hasn't really done a heck of a lot for me. It's having some trouble following through here. I thought this had a chance to get to 26, but the good news is if we stay green, like the market stays green, this can be, you know, a trade off that 25 tomorrow, maybe trending back into that 26, and we can have a look at Pinterest for tomorrow. That can always be a good one there. I don't really, outside of Intel, which is yet to somehow stop out, it's getting darn close. It's a couple of cents away here. You know, my stop's in. If it breaks the high, we just have to get out of that. It's Tesla that I might be looking back and sort of saying, okay, what's going on here? Why is it not at the high of the day? We're making more legs to the top, and Tesla doesn't want to follow through. I think that's a bit of a disappointment here. I think that's actually a bit of a disappointment, I'd say. I'm glad I got out of it, but that's very disappointing. Alibaba, which, whatever, man. Baba, I should have been in this long. I gave up on it because Neo wasn't moving. I thought Baba was going to do the same. It's getting close to 88. I don't want to be chasing this. At this point, I'm not even sure I want to dip buy. I think if it got anywhere close to where I liked it at 87, I wouldn't want that fill this late in the day. If it falls that far, I don't want any part of it, so I'll walk away from Alibaba. I got psyched out on this. I've been burned sort of trying to trade Neo in the afternoons too many times, and it doesn't go anywhere, that I talked myself out of Alibaba when it would have been just fine.
Yeah, I'm just realizing the time now too. Actually, I didn't even realize how late it was. When you're having fun, the time goes by. We are now, unfortunately, only 14 minutes away from set imbalances, and then when those come out, hopefully we'll see a little bit of fireworks on those. Again, you know, shorting Amazon, I mean, we've talked about this. I want to short it a little bit closer. I mean, first of all, we're short right now, 124.55, which is flat for us now. I want to average all the way up, but I want to put a bigger piece on at or near 125 flat, because you know, that's kind of what I want to wait for, because if you put on, it doesn't matter your default size, 100 shares or something right now, right? And like, so if that rips up to 125, you're going to get out and take a 50-cent hit. Is there really 50 cents right now worth of trade? If you're right, I don't know. The market's holding up, and I mean, kind of a rhetorical question. I don't think there is. Right now, I'm just holding into a small piece. It's a decent piece. It's about 45% of what I'm hoping to get. So if it comes back down, that'll be great. And these are my targets, like right here, 12s. So that even now, like even with a target of where the 50 period is down here at 124.15 or 124.20, that's not giving me the greatest risk to return right now, because if I get out, it's going to be a little north of 125. So that is right there going to be like a 60, 70 cent hit holding out for this level. So no, I don't think right now is the right time to pile in to Amazon, especially. And again, how come as soon as I start piling into these damn stocks, random stories start coming out? Like I'm into more Amazon now. What does Brendan say? Bed Bath & Beyond, circulating story with Amazon. And then earlier this morning, the same thing happened again when we had that Kramer bump talking about Amazon possibly looking to take out some of the fleet there in FedEx. So yeah, I don't want to change my thesis on where the size is and what kind of levels I feel like can hold. But at the same time, we are getting a little bit of bad luck here, it seems like anyways. I'd rather nothing come out when you're in the stock because you're trading it for other reasons. But we'll wait to see here. Not a great sign when that kind of stuff happens, but we just got to fill there at 65. So I feel like my prices are fine. It's obviously it's not moving with that news because the market is now at day's high and looking to run up to 1%. So again, like if the market rips and I'm short, what a surprise. You know, that I'm sort of piecing out 4 shorts today. So again, let's see what happens at 125. That's the only thing that I have to say right now. We're going to give this up to 125. If it breaks it, we'll give it a little more room and then we're out. But right now it's not looking great on this Amazon short. The market is what needs to pull back, not Amazon, as Lucid, of course, 20 cents in the money on the long.
Yeah, Apple just got to 2.5% up on the day. So at least Apple's doing some Superman action there to that upside. But one thing you said there, Sean, is a trader, when you're especially day trading, there is nothing you can do about headline risk except for react to it when the headline comes out. Like, there's just, if you're in the trade, time in a trade is not just about your levels, your entries, and your exits. There is always market and headline risk that something can happen, and there's nothing you can do about it. You just sort of react to it. But every day, like, you always wish that it can just trade based on what your thesis was originally. Everyone's certainly been there. But you can't, there's one thing you can avoid. Like, if you know there's an investor day, or if you know there's a conference call going on, or you're expecting an announcement on something, well, you can at least make sure you file that away if you're trading the stock, right? It seems simple to say, but I've also been that doofus that was trading pre-market in a stock when it had the earnings call on because, oh, I like this level, and then just get wiped out, then that level's perfectly fine an hour later. So you do understand that there is heightened risk. Economic numbers play into that as well. I'm going to slap a trail on some of these now. So Apple, I'm going to throw a break even on this. If it breaks back below 154, I'm going to get out. Otherwise, I want to see if I can't hold higher. Pinterest does not seem like it wants to go. So as much as it's holding support at that quarters, it doesn't seem to want to break out the high of the day. So I'm not going to reload it off the lows. And no longer do I even think it's going to get back up and break out those highs. So I'll slap a 20, like a 25-30 on this to the downside. If it breaks that, then we'll just get out of Dodge. The imbalances are going to start to come out here. I don't think they're going to be, like, it's probably going to be a nothing burger. That's my guess. But I want to give room. We're getting a rally in the market. I want to give these some room to continue to run. Nordstrom's is at least breaking out. So from this morning, that's going to end up working, but we're kind of running out of steam as well. Slowly grinding higher, good volume, but I'll slap a trail on this one back, you know, underneath this 1950. Maybe not exactly 1950 because that's sort of too obvious, but I want to give this a chance to continue to go here. As that one, it took a while for it to get going and follow through on that move, but it eventually did. And I still favor things that are breaking out on a higher time frame. You can have this one from the morning. I kind of liked it when it was breaking out at this 19 level. So once it consolidated off there, we sat in it. I think this can be good above 19 tomorrow, especially at that 19 quarter level. And Tesla, that was the other one that I got out of it. But it's still, even with the market churning higher, Tesla's going nowhere. This 310 and 309 area, you know, last week's high, it's getting a lot of respect from Tesla. There's not a lot of buyers at this top. People that look like they want to be long this at this price going into Wednesday. So I kind of respect this. Tomorrow I'll respect this resistance we're seeing on Tesla. as strong as it is now, you might see me wanting to short this at 310 tomorrow. I think the way that it's trading into this strong close is telling me that there could be something there when it comes to resistance on Tesla. And of course, if I'm only sitting in the longs now, it does mean Intel eventually stopped out. So I do take the hit there as it broke that. Had 32 short, got out at 41s. So we'll take the hit in Intel. It's a long kind of day. Didn't think that was going to be the case by any stretch when I sat down this morning.
No, and right now we're hoping that Amazon could stretch out a little bit here and come to the downside as we have this position on board right now. Like I said, we did average in. Remember I said we had a little bit of what we wanted. We got a little bit more right there. It didn't go up as high as I had sort of hoped it would, but it's coming back in. So that's nice for us on Amazon. Short now at 58. And maybe I'll just keep putting out some bids here in case that number does go the other way. I'm sitting at 33 to get a little bit more out now on Amazon. So here we go back down to the downside. Again, just wait for your, damn it, and what's out to Playmaker again. Thank you for the super chat. But again, there's where patience pays again as there it comes back in right now, trying to collapse again. It just printed 34s. I was at 35, sorry, I was at 33. Hopefully that move can happen one more time and we'll see about a push down here for Amazon. And there it is again, man, spin it for Lucid. I mean, Lucid was a great call. We just took out there. We got in, oh, now there's a bad wick, but we got an 89 fill and now I have 5% left. That was the target. We talked about that target rate where VWAP was. So we get out some in front of VWAP at 86, then it breaks it and we sit there and take out our last piece on Lucid. We have one more piece that's going to come out right here if it breaks back below 80, which could happen right now. So I'm going to put that order in to get stopped out on Lucid, LCID there for you home gamers there. Lucid coming out and then just hoping that with only 6 minutes now, and this is for you, Mike Crean, thanks for everything you've done for us as well. The time right now at tradertv.live, and by the way, hit the like button. That's the first thing. 244.15, 244.16, 17, and 18 as we trade here live on the floor in lovely Toronto, Ontario, where it looks like the Blue Jays will, I guess, host wildcard now. So that's going to be good on that one, knock on wood. I mean, I think we would need that. So let's see if we can make that happen for my man Neil over here as he's excited to go to those games.
Oh, you know I'll be there. I'll be there for sure. And we're here to bring you what's moving. So got to get ATXG to you guys, breaking out. Look, it's only, it might, I don't want to say only up 15%, but up 15%. Considering what this stock did last week, it does feel like only 15% because that was a monster rally. I remember because we were trading 550s. It went all the way to $7 on a long, kind of kicking myself that I wasn't short this on the way back in when I look at that chart, but whatevs. If it gets up to 550, I think you get some resistance in here if it tries to test this level. So just watch out. This was big support at 550. When it broke back below it, you can see on Friday it held a 540 top. I think there's going to be sellers up here. I'm a little surprised that you aren't seeing a little bit more profit taking on some of these levels. I might just manually take out Nordstrom's as we get it. It just doesn't seem to want to hold above this 1950. I'm going to keep tightening my stop on Nordstrom, but I want to make sure I got this ATXG to you guys because understand, I think when it gets to this price at 540 or so, it is going to run out of some steam. The volume, which you guys can't really see, the volume is a infinitesimally small fraction of what this was doing last week when it was running. Like it doesn't even, like this registers over our position board, what you saw back in the 14th and 15th. You can't even see the volume candles here that it's putting in today. Big spike as it took out the high, but nowhere near the volume this was making when it got to that $7 area last week.
Yeah, I'm just noticing right now. Okay, I was going to say, and then we just got to, okay, all right. I was going to say, we just got to pull back down. I was going to say, I'm noticing now that Amazon started to go back up to the upside. And then I just got filled again at 40 down there for 20 cents. So it's only a 20-cent winner right now. But like I said, and like we've all been talking about, we have to be flat here at the end of the day. Thank you for all the likes that just came in as well. Please hit the like button as we continue to trade here for you. My eyes are just, I mean, I'm still watching this Amazon position. I mean, that's going to be a big one for me. And hopefully it will come back down and yeah, we'll be able to get out of this one on lower lows there. I'm now just thinking honestly of not even worrying. If it takes out that high of like 70 or a little bit higher than that, then I'm just going to get out. So I'm canceling all this Amazon stuff. If it wants to, look, if it wants to go up, great. Like I said, I'm here for that. But if it doesn't, then at the same time, I don't want to hold this all the way to 125. Not with only 14 minutes left, a little more time. And I'm pretty sure we would have been able to hit that. But for right now, no, we're going to pass on getting out of that Amazon at 125. We're going to take it out at right here, 124.70. And this is what it looks like on the daily. And this is what we've done today, just short, short, short. This was the big one that really set me reeling early, and not reeling in a good way, to the downside on our net. But then we got some revenge as we shorted that, brought it back down, short, 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 out, 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 all the way here. A couple more shorts, and then right again, now short again here on Amazon as it's pulling back in. So with only a few minutes left now, 2.5 to be precise, we do have those imbalances coming, and I have lower bids. There it is, yes. We take that out again, 33s there out on Amazon for that. So now we don't have too many shares, but now, for sure now, we'll roll this into the close. So 124.30 is where we're at. We're going to give this one up to the high of the day, 124.75, before we get out. But that's my Amazon trade. Let's see where it goes here on close.
I just took out pins. It failed at that 29.50 again, so I just grabbed the 45 instead of waiting for the trail to come in. And I'm looking at the same thing here. You know what? I'm not even going to wait for the trail. I'm just going to get out of Nordstrom's as it's testing that 19.50. Like I said, I'm surprised there isn't a little more profit taking at these highs where you get the Fed. Like right now, people are expecting 3/4, right? Like if we get one, who wouldn't want to be grabbing some of this opportunity to maybe get out as these stocks get to these high levels? So that'll leave me with Apple. Apple, I don't want to say it's a different story, but pretty clean 154 going into the imbalances. It's just the one. If it breaks down, comes out of sell imbalance, let's just say it breaks down, it'll track me out there at 54, break even. But that stock is so strong, it's criminal to have only gone long at 154 when it finally broke out. But at least they had that one. And Tesla, yeah, I guess not surprised that it's rolling over a little bit here. That didn't even get to the high of the day. So everything was breaking highs. Tesla, as strong as it was, resisted those highs of the day. So it is coming back in. No trade for me here. Like if this had happened half an hour ago, I'd probably be buying this dip in Tesla back into 307. But we only have 10 minutes to go. So it'll be a matter of whether Apple wants to hold 154, rally into the top at the close, in which case I'll try to hold it into that. But I'm not going to be getting into anything new, I don't think. Unless something crazy happens at 350. There's always that opportunity. You never know what's going to come at 350 in those imbalances, but all I'll have is Apple at that 154.
All right, that's hilarious because Amazon, okay, here we go. We only have a few seconds left. I was just watching Amazon. I was bidding 32. It went to 33. I'm going to get it, so I don't really, that's okay. We'll see what happens on that one. But here it comes right back in, and now with only a few seconds left, we're going to call up the imbalance locator for you right now. We're going to get rid of ARCA because we don't care about that one. We're going to sort it by size, and we're going to put it down here as we always do, and now we could watch. So the name's going to appear here with only 8 seconds to go now before the imbalance. I still don't have that Amazon fill, which is hilarious. With only 3 seconds to go. Here we go. There it is. Now Amazon comes in. 2 and 1. And here we go. Now the imbalances come out, and there goes Amazon to the downside.
Down.
So it must be a downside print right now. So we'll start getting out of some of these bids. 16s.
So Apple's a sell, 1.3 million. That just came out. That's why you slap a trail on those bad boys.
Yeah,
that looks
buddy.
like J&J to the sell side. Amazon is a 900,000 to sell. Occidental, 880,000. They're not gigantic, but it's mostly to the sell side. If you're looking for something that's long, U.S. Steel's 1.2 million to buy. Yeah, I mean, Altria, 1.5 million to buy there. It's mostly sell side. All the big names are to the sell side with the exception of U.S. Steel and Altria.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, spin it one more time there because there's the money coming in again. Like, wow. And like I said, just respect your own levels and the own work that you do. Like, if I just trusted my own stupid sticky note more, we would be up a hell of a lot more, but we're not. So that's fine. We're going to watch out for these levels tomorrow. 125 coming in to play pretty nicely there on Amazon. That's Apple. There's Amazon. Again, like well cooked, man, all the way to the downside. That imbalance obviously helped us there. There it is right here as a sell. So there's Amazon, 900,000 shares to sell. Maybe push it up for you guys. You can see it. There it is right there. It's already been paired off, and it's just going to slowly pair off. So at 355, we've noticed is the major pairing off. So that's when, you'll probably get, maybe I'll just take a bid now. That's when you're going to, there you go, I just punched out 20. That's when you normally will get a decent pairing off. So we're going to wait to that. CSX, we've talked about that name a couple times, being inverted with the rails and so on and so forth. So $30 the high for CSX. That was looking pretty nice right there. Apple's still the sell, man. Still 1.13 million, sending this name right back down, right? So 154.50 the high for Apple. What a great name. That name's up 2.5% today. Wow. Loving some Apple and definitely loving some Amazon as well, as we were able to get out a lot down there when it came in. So I have less than half of what I had 2 minutes ago, and there it is. That's why it just fell right back in. We got them all out right where we wanted to. So Amazon, thanks for that imbalance. Finally, one worked out in our favor. Not great, but still was able to get some out there on Amazon.
And worth noting, hey, Rumble's going to close at the high of the day. So 40% to the upside for Rumble after converting from CFDI. If you're trading this one into the aftermarket, for those, I know some people do this, so or swing it overnight. Just remember on that daily chart, if you look at CFDI highs at 1850, which I think it got to on a pre-market day, would be some potential resistance. So watch out for that as it looks to try to go. There is going to be a consequence of getting flat. Nordstrom's, which I got out of on in front of that pullback. Well, it's still going higher. So Nordstrom's still up 3.5%, still going. Despite the fact the market wanted to pull back, this is still going to close at the high of the day as well. Apple came out of sell imbalance. You know, that's going to end up trailing me out there. If it follows through, I think you maybe get a bit of a dip. I'm actually surprised. We're actually still holding back above 154 here. So kind of holding near those highs is Apple. It's up over 2% into a market, you know, 0.5% on the ES right now. NASDAQ, about the same sort of thing there. But, you know, Tesla, a bit of a disappointment. I have to go back, and this will be my regret. Flipping to the longs ended up working out, but there was one that I liked at the beginning of the show, and I didn't take it because I psyched myself out of Alibaba, because if frankly it wasn't moving, I'm like, well, it's not going to go anywhere. I don't want to put any attention towards it. And then it broke out and it was gorgeous to the upside. So Alibaba showing strength. Any one of these U.S. listed Chinese names, ear to the ground. There is headline risk for the next few weeks as these audits are working themselves out. Like 160 different names that are involved in it. But any one of those or any kind of report could send all of these up or down. So you have to keep your ear to the ground or just follow us, because Brennan would have anything that moves, or we'll see it as it comes across the wire. Baba, I'm going to be looking and favoring longs tomorrow, however, in Alibaba, just given how strong this was today. When Baba's going up, sometimes it really goes up, and it just rejected a breakdown at this 87 level. So we'll close above it, and you could have like a wick bottom, reestablishing support, and then some room to the upside on Baba. But it's got to be that 87 I'm locked in on.
All right, another good trade there. I mean, look at Lucid. Like, you want to talk about, you know, hopefully you guys are able to take this with me there when it broke through 1560, all the way up to 90s right now for Lucid. So this is like, we were down 3%. So it's been a nice move upside now for Lucid. So I'm going to try to remember some of these names for tomorrow. Lucid, Tesla, you know, some of these ones that have definitely worked today. I mean, Lucid hasn't really worked today, but in the afternoon, it's a nice upside move there. And yeah, we are now 24 cents in the money on this $15 name. So that's going to be a good one. And we're out. Like, I have literally, well, it's 10% of what my big position was on Amazon, but still not that much to worry about there. As here goes the market again, trying to hold that 12,000. And look where we dipped to, the exact same level again in the futures, right? So wow, dip buys, this and that. Like I said, maybe we should be trading the futures a little bit more there, because it just went right back to that level and stopped at 11,990. I feel like tomorrow could be a bloodbath day. I don't know where these numbers are coming from today. It seems like it's a big move into Fed on Wednesday. So let's get another piece out on Amazon. Might as well get a 45 bid if we can. And then we'll just wait to see what the next part brings. But yeah, good day overall, man. Like, really happy. Kind of saved here in the afternoon by this Lucid trade. Shopify was good as well. And then hitting Amazon, we made back about 30% or so of what we were down on Amazon just for you guys here this afternoon. So I hope you're able to trade that, as here it comes, pulling back in again, and we'll take out another piece on Amazon. And I feel like we might as well just end this trade. There it is. Shoot, we punched out on Lucid. But again, that's a good one there, catapulting us a little bit. So Lucid out there at 90, not 91 off that bid. So nice move upside. And then, like I said, Amazon, we just took a 45 bid. Just willing to close this one at the bottom. So yeah, what a great day. I mean, lots of trading. You had to be patient. And I think that the more I say that, maybe the more we'll get super chats from Playmaker. But I feel like that is the number one thing, is to wait for your levels. If we did that and we were more patient, then we would have had just infinitely more money. But today, not that case, and we should have waited for Amazon. Tomorrow, 125. Looks like Amazon will open up around there, and that'll be a level for me to short.
There's some real big runners here. Nordstrom now 4% to the upside, but HKD and this SHPH both running into the close here pretty heavily. SHPH getting close to that 9. Just want to put things in perspective. Look, the stock just went from $8 to $9.50, but if you do remember, this was up in the 40s before. So yes, it's impressive, but in the grand scheme of things, it is a small move, relatively speaking, compared to the last couple of days. Brendo?
Perfect tee up for this, just out from S3 Partners this afternoon, guys. Short interest in the U.S. and Canada down so far this year, according to S3. 171 billion versus 150 billion. That was Q2. So far in Q3, 12 billion versus 59. So a negative 6% return on an average short position so far of 986 billion. So overall, if you take the market as a whole, short positions actually down so far in Q3.
All right. Interesting to know.
Sense.
Interesting to
Covering
know.
into, covering into the Fed.
That. Yeah, we're going to wait right here with only 2 minutes to go. We just covered that right at that same price. We covered it at 65. Nothing to worry about, and we'll wait to see what happens now into the close with only 2 minutes to go, man. We're getting all ready to go. Everyone's going out here with Day Trade the World and Trader TV Live. Should be a nice little dinner party tonight, of course, on a Monday. So that should be a lot of fun, and we're getting ready to rock and roll. With only a minute and a half to go, the market will close on its highs. So I don't know. I mean, that's normally a great sign. I'm still very, very skeptical on a bull run happening now, but it helps when Apple's upside, and Apple today is carrying this market. We talked about that when it was only up 1.5%, but there it is. As Apple continues to climb, so does this market. Apple's going to finish at the high of the day, and look at this. Wow, what a beast Apple is. So we'll wait to see. That's going to be on the sticky note tomorrow for sure. We'll wait on that one. But yeah, good day. I mean, a nice way to start the week. I'm pretty happy with everything today. I hope you guys are. Not too many names traded, but some positive ones out there. Good on Lucid, great on Netflix today. That's a name that's definitely going to be worth trading moving forward.
And you got 1 minute to get us to 1,000 likes here. Take a second to do it. You can be that person that hits the 1,000. Always satisfying when it happens. And you know I'm going to say it, so let's just get it out of the way right now. Whether the Bulls run or not, the Bills are most certainly going to run wild over the Tennessee Titans tonight. That should be exciting. There's another Monday night game. To be honest, Sean, I don't even know what the other Monday night game is.
Philly, Minnesota.
Philly and Minnesota. Okay. Actually, Jefferson, that could be pretty interesting, but I will not stay up for that because I'll be celebrating my Bills when Tony is on the bell. We are having another Tony come by on Wednesday from Financial Juice. Tony will have many time to get his thoughts on the overall market, but he's ringing the bell for us on this Monday. It's been an exciting one. You got to be happy when the overall market looks strong, but we still get a rate hike on Wednesday, so things can certainly change. Tony, ring it in 4, 3, 2, and...
Tony dancing it off there. Hopefully, Tony had
camera shot there.
Tony had a good day as well. Yeah, a little bit of a wider shot there. So, again, thanks for the support today. It was a great day. We didn't get as many likes as I thought we would have. But, hey, the market will probably be here tomorrow, so you can join us back again. But let's join Brendan right now and see how these unbelievable markets, to me anyways, finish today.
Super resilient all day long. We bounce off the lows and then some, back to positive territory, guys. Nice look here on the board to wrap things up so far today. 0.66, 0.58, 0.75 for the 3 U.S. markets. A full % to the upside for the TSX here in Toronto. Brazil with a nice day as well. Yeah, Bitcoin bounced there late in the day, as we said, just 1.2, 5.2 for Ethereum. That was down 8% pre-market, so off the lows to say the least.
Yeah, well, I'd say we got off the lows a little bit. No question about it. Markets ending nice and strong.
Because the market, we talked about that sort of the way NASDAQ goes with crypto. Obviously, when NASDAQ was down that 1% and oil was down today, oil's now up 0.5%. The NASDAQ continues to run here, even in the pre-market, now up to 12,034. So, yeah, it should be a really, really interesting. Tomorrow should be interesting, although I think it'll be real interesting at the beginning of the day, and then I don't want to put on...
Could have an inside day late tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't want to put on too much risk late, but again, then we have that same problem on Wednesday because it's still half a day Wednesday. Like, you're not going to get anything till the afternoon when the Fed comes out, and then by then, though, we'll have a much more accurate idea of what's going to happen, because I think it's still 80-20, right, Brendan, or so? 75, so 75, 80%. 20% for the 1 full point. And that's going to come on Wednesday afternoon, so join us then. Look at the NASDAQ here, by the way.
Still going.
In the aftermarket. Just took out again 12,050. Now we're up to 12,000. The high rate there, 12,066. So I don't know if Tony went back to the desk and bought the market or what, but nice little move back up there for the NASDAQ. But all right, we didn't have any guests today, I don't think. We had Arun.
Well, Arun came back.
Yeah, so that's great to have Arun. Yeah, Arun. So that's great to have Arun back. So great to have him. I was chatting with him a little bit after, sending me some pictures and stuff like that of the motherland. He just says Italy is so impressive, and I'm just like, duh. But yeah, Italy, great country there. He wants to go back already, Brendo, and I'm sure you're getting the same feelings of Greece.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I love Italy as well. I've been all through the northern part of Italy, Spain, France. I mean, that whole area of the world is beautiful this time of year.
Yeah, that's for sure. You don't want to be there too much in the summertime as it gets
hot.
pretty hot
Steamy.
there. But all right, so for everybody today, thank you so much for watching. Want to thank Maggie, Katrine, Liz, Lucas, Fahad, Brendo, Arun, the guys on the midday show. But we got to get out of here. So let's get ready to go. Let's sharpen up the old credit card and go get some dinner. So thanks to everybody watching. We're the Trader TV Live team, and we'll catch you tomorrow at 8:30. Ciao, guys.
Go Bills.
Go Bills. Oh.